Pleasant good evening, everybody. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks Show. We are coming to you live from Barbados, right there in the Eastern Caribbean. We're kind of off on by ourselves right over there. This is the Marcia Weeks Show where we educate, we agitate, we motivate, we mobilize Africa and the African diaspora. It's a pleasure, real pleasure to be with you this evening. We're going to have some wonderful time. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some serious things. And we have a special person on for you tonight. We have lots of special persons. We have Mr. Grenville Phillips is going to be on at 7:30, and he is going to be talking about the cybercrime bill, because you know that the citizens, they have a group that's going to Washington. They're going to Washington because they are going to complain to the international, inter-American, inter-American, IACHS. Let me put it at that. Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. I couldn't remember the C. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. And so they are leaving actually weekend coming up and going over there to Washington. So you know they when you see them over there and everything, the news come back, they are representing you. So tonight, Grenville is going to um, remind us of some of the issues that we have with the cybercrime bill. And I hope we will all pay attention. And we have, of course, Mr. Glenn Murray, who will be coming on as well. And he is going to talk about independence and republic, because you know we define them because we're celebrating independence. Yes, all the way. And then guess what? We have Mr. Ralph Thorne. The Honorable Ralph Thorne is in the house, people. So get ready, share the link. Share the link. I know some of you know alert. You're hearing that Honorable Ralph Thorne is in the house. And you know whether I know how it goes out there. I know how it goes out there. But listen, we're gonna have fun in here tonight. Yeah, we're going to have some wonderful fun. And it's going to be great. But we do have some sad things to talk about that's happening in Barbados as well. Yes. We have Judy Jilks is on. Good evening, Judy Jilks, and Teroni. Oh my Lord, we were all together last weekend, weren't we? We were at the party for Maxine McLean, and then we also went to the motorcade. We were all there together. It's so good. We're family, aren't we? Cecilia Miller, how are you? I received your message today, and I hope I responded. Because I did look into what you were asking me, but we had a busy day today. Vernon Garnes, good evening. Nat Grant, good evening. For some of you, you might send me stuff. I might not respond right away because can you imagine everybody sending me things? So but I do watch most of what you send me. I really do. Joy and Faith, Monica Ince, good evening. Good evening. It's me. How are you? Oh, what kind of chaos? You have chaos in your life. It's me. I hope you don't have any chaos in your life. I send joy and peace and tranquility to you, because that's what we're pushing tonight. All positivity coming out. All positivity. That's what it is. A beautiful spirit. And we're people of faith, right? Yes, man. And all we gotta hear is God's voice, and that's the voice of truth. Yes, the voice of truth tells us a different story. The voice of truth tells us we are not to be afraid. Because when we lose our fear, hey, Barbados, Caribbean, Africa, wherever you're watching from, we know that when we lose our fear, what happens? They lose their power. It's like David and Goliath. It's like when David, listen, David saw that was a big giant, but he got this thing on the stone, right? And what happened to Goliath? Goliath fell down. Some of you, you have all these big mountains, Mildred and Queen Bee, big mountains in front of you. Just start with the little that you have, and faith is a small, what it says, the small as a mustard seed, a little bit of faith, just like those little bit of stones. So listen, Cammy, how the fridge going, Cammy? It's all good night. That's right, Cammy. Good vibes tonight, folks. Share up the live. Everybody share up this live tonight. Share up this live tonight, people. Dave, Maxine Castle, everybody. Can I tell you, I had a whole hour conversation with Mr. Franklin. Normally it's hi, Mr. Franklin, I send him something and he sends me back, and we quick conversation. We had the privilege of talking to him for a whole hour yesterday, and he wants you to know he's coming back. But remember, he wasn't well. He's feeling better now, and so he has a lot of backlog of work. Okay, so he's catching up, right? Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes. So those are some of the sad things that we're seeing. But we're going to talk about that. Nigel Newton, good night, Nigel. Good night. Yes. Yes, Rosemary, I know it's not easy. We're all going through it, but you do what you can. You use what you have. Like David and and Goliath. That situation before you might seem like, I do read your messages and say a prayer over you, Rosemary. I know it's tough. But the voice of truth tells us a different story. That voice of truth says, do not be afraid. Yes? So don't be afraid, Rosemary. It's gonna come together. It's gonna come together. Yes. Sometimes you just gotta use what you have and believe. David believed in what he had. Oh, thank you, Rudy Barrow. Rudy, you're watching from where, Rudy? Thank you, Rudy. We're coming up to Washington on the 11th, November the 11th. Hi, Rudy. Rudy does film work as well, and I can't remember what state in the U.S. he's from. Sandra Pierce, good evening. Dale Worrell, good evening, folks. Listen. Yes, I know the murders are there. I know they're there. Um, yeah, Matthew Brown, I don't know. We can ask him when he come on tonight. Okay. Yes. Folks, share up the live. And when you look right there at the bottom, go right across to the right, and you're going to see a little button that says subscribe. Hit that button. Everybody, just hit that subscribe button right now. A lot of you like and you share, but you don't subscribe. But we need you to subscribe. Hit that button, okay? Hit that button. There's going to be a poll that we're going to put up here concerning the cybercrime bill. So if you're subscribed, you will get the poll, all right? But if you're not subscribed, you're not going to be able to see the poll, all right? So I'm going to ask you, because I want all of you, when you see that poll, to go ahead and to answer the questions, all right? Lovely. Marcia, my namesake, Mary Williams. Yes, Denise Moore, you're always there sharing. Folks, share. Gonna like, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe, okay? Yes, that's true, Taroni. Everybody needs to subscribe. That's wonderful. It is a great day. And I feel like David tonight. I'm ready to slay some giants, man. I'm ready to slay Goliath tonight. I'm ready to slay lying Goliath tonight. You saw my picture? Where my picture is? Oh, I'm starting too early. Let's start with the national anthem. Listen, this is our song, because we can't slay any giants. As a nation, we need to hear this. This gotta be in our blood. This gotta be under our skin. This gotta give us the fields and everything, the national anthem. So let us stand to the playing of the national anthem before we go to war and start to slay the giants. All right? All right, good. Barbados. Woo! Yes, 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 yes. Happy Independence, Barbados. Happy Independence. Listen, listen, listen. We celebrating you all. So there's a little something Dave did up for you all tonight. So let's look at this right now.
My country is a sense of feeling free and having the right to speak your mind out. That is my country to me. It is the air I breathe. I'm so proud to be born here, and the love and beauty that surround us. We share it day by day. That is my country to me. I will not look down. I will always keep my head up high and share with pride and industry. And people will always respect what Barbados means to me. My country to me. My country to me. Is the children's family loving each other. That is my country to me. It is the air I breathe. I'm so proud to be born here, and the love and beauty that surround my country to me.
Listen, Queen B, you're right. She says that song gets me every time, moves me to tears. Listen, who want to hear that again? If you want to hear that again, give me the thumbs up. Only if I see enough thumbs up in the comment section that we are going to play that again. Let me see the thumbs up. Oh my God, that was just so beautiful, beautiful. Listen, if you are all in the independence mode and you feeling this song tonight and you want me, no thumbs up. Oh, okay, okay, all right, Judy. I see it, Marlene. I have to see a couple more thumbs up before I play it again. But yes, man, yes, man, yes, man. Come up before we let the selector pull up, selector, pull up, selector. That's it. That's it. Yes, Patrick Designs. All right. All right. All right. All right. Yes. Pull up, Mr. Selector. Pull it up.
My country to me is a sense of feeling free and having the right to speak your mind out. That is my country to me. It is the air I breathe. I'm so proud to be born here, and the love and beauty that surround us. We share it day by day. That is my country to me. I will not look down. I will always keep my head up high and share with pride and industry. And people will always respect what Barbados means to me. My country to me. My country to me. Is the children's family loving each other. That is my country to me. It is the air I breathe. I'm so proud to be born here, and the love and beauty that surround us. We share it day by day. That is my country to me.
Oh my lordy, that is so sweet. And I had the chance to really listen to the lyrics, and there's a part here that said, I am so proud to be born here. Well, I wasn't born here, but that just touched my heart. Anybody out there proud to be born? Let's just take a moment and just love on this beautiful country. Anybody out there proud to be born here? You heard that? I am so proud to be born here. And you don't know what that means, right? Unless you live outside of Barbados. When you live outside of Barbados, yes, that's my country to me. Oh, Lord. Listen, when you live outside of Barbados, right? You understand what it means that when it said, I am so proud to be born here. I remember my son, one of my sons was going to Trinidad. And he was going to Trinidad. And you know what? We always have these flags at home. And he took two of the flags, a young man. And he took two of the flags. And I said to him, what are you going to do with them? And when he set up his room, he put up the two flags in his room. And I felt so proud. As a mom, I felt so proud that we have produced a child that is so patriotic to his country. He's traveling and he wanted to travel with his flags. And, and that is how we train them up. And we always would say to them, because two of them were born in the US, and so they, the little US twang and thing. But we always said to them, well, we want you to be able to speak the dialect. You're going to be able to speak, the Queen's English, but it is just as important to be able to speak the dialect, and to love Barbadian food, love the sauce, and love the but my one son loved the sauce, and they love everything, all the Barbadian things they love, the cuckoo and thing and all of that, so it is part of us, and we've got to love us. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. We've got to love us. We've got to value us. We have to realize that we are so special. You understand? We are special. And when people say stop complaining, you said, no, no, no. We are going to complain if we see you changing our Barbados. When we see you're changing our Barbados, we are going to complain. And we're going to move that complaint from just complaint to doing something about it. We're going to fix it. And guess what? The love that we have for Barbados, just that love alone that we have for Barbados and us coming together, we're going to find solutions and we're going to fix it. You said, Marcia, how you know that? I see it happen on the show or every time I come on. I see people find bed for people, fridge, stove, wheelchair. We're going, listen, there's a group that's going to Washington. And the citizens have put money together to buy airline ticket, hotel, all of that for all the submissions. And I was speaking to one of the donors today, and I said, well, we came up on a little situation, and I knew, because all this time they said, some people said, well, you might have to go to the show and ask them. And I said, I don't want to do that, because I know we were doing the water, right, for people in St. Lucie, and we were taking care of that mom again that needs water, and she needs water for her son. We're going to tell you more about that as the night goes on, but I didn't want to come to you again. So there were individual people that, volunteered. People just heard that we were going, and they just message. They just message. And that's Barbados to me. That's Barbados to me. That Bajan spirit, guys. And it is beautiful. It is really, really beautiful. And, as we go, if you are moved in your heart and you want to help us, we have 2 young persons that's traveling with us. And we want to be able to make sure that they can get their meals while they're there in the U.S. That's going to happen. We want to make sure we can get those meals for them. So if you want to support that cause of going to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, where we're going to represent Barbados there in Washington, as we speak to them about the cybercrime bill that is seeking to take away our freedom of speech and expression in Barbados. That's what they're trying to do. And so we are going there to lodge a complaint and to let them hear our case. The government is traveling. So we're like David and their Goliath. They said they will send a team of lawyers. We're regular people. Do you understand? It's the citizens, and they have the gall to be going to defend this treacherous act against the people of Barbados. But they're paying, and they're using your tax dollars to do it. And guess what? We are pulling from our pockets to send our team there. But they are using our tax dollars to send big lawyer, big name people. Well, I don't know who's going yet. They said that they will send a team of lawyers. So don't quote me. I don't know who's going. But the point is that I'm sure where we are staying is nothing complain. Where the delegation will be staying is nothing compared to where they're going to be. Right? But where they're, look at the people. Look at everybody putting all this food on here. Conkies and raisins. No, conkies. Oh Lord. Conkies, whether with raisins or without raisins. I mean, it has to have raisins. Come on. Right, stew dumplings. Well, I don't know much about the stew dumplings. I wonder if that's the one that Dave does in the coconut milk, Dave. Oh, that's his stew dumplings. Okay, Dave said it's the stew dumplings, right? So he does it. I'm not a too fan of that one because it feels like you're drinking flour. That's how it seems to me. I'm sure that's your tradition. I'm just saying. But I love the cuckoo and saltfish, cuckoo and flying fish, or cuckoo and mackerel, cuckoo and red herring, right? Cuckoo and anything, but especially those. And of course, I love the sauce. Not a big fan of the pudding part. I think because of the story I heard about it, I kind of have I'm not sure. But stew dumplings in dark gravy? What is, I don't know about that one, Patrick. Oh, somebody said they thought stew dumpling and conkies were the same. No, it's me. I know that is not true. Not so. It's the same thing there? Oh, stew dumplings and conkies. Oops. Let me stop talking. You're so right. If you see something, listen, Dave, Dave, what is this you have on here? Is a video, or this is just our independence, or when we celebrated the 50th independence, right? Wonderful. Yeah. Listen. Just before they come, listen. But Jafire here. No, we're going to switch modes right here. I did put up that picture. Put out that Pinocchio picture on here for me, please. Because I said to you tonight that we are like David, and we're going to slay the giant. We're going to slay anything that is a mountain before us. They're going to get slain. And the cybercrime bill is like a mountain before us, but it will be slain. And so somebody says that if you see something, say something, and on the other, they will do it afterwards. Let's do it afterwards. Let's put it up afterwards. I see Mr. Grenville is here, so we're gonna go get in it soon. But no, yeah, you're right. If we see something, we're to say something, but then you're gonna penalize us with the cybercrime bill. Please get out of here. Huh? Make up your mind. What is it? Yeah. Oh, Patrick is saying something. Listen, we all mix up tonight. We're talking about food and everything. Patrick says it was the old way of cooking. You would do your chicken or beef gravy and roll small dumplings to cook in the gravy. Ah, okay. Okay. I see. You put, and that's what you call that stew dumpling. Okay, interesting. Oh, well, I know Dave loves this thing that he does with coconut. I think it's milk, coconut, and dumplings, and it's like a sweet kind of a thing. Yes, it's, yeah, and he loves it. Yeah, that's not one of my favorites, right? But okay, wonderful. Well, guys, we are, that was us talking a bit about independence. We're going to continue that talk later tonight, because we are going to have Mr. Glenn Murray is going to come on tonight at 8 o'clock, and we're going to talk a bit more about independence and also the republic. But before we do that, today today I was actually doing a lot of studying, a lot of preparation. We're doing a lot of preparation for the delegation, helping people as they're preparing to go to Washington to represent the citizens of this country. And so I was doing a lot of research, and it's interesting to see what's happening in Canada, because they're fighting as well. Canada is fighting as well. and so is the UK actually. And then I got a WhatsApp message, and I saw it there, but I was researching, so I said, let me wait, and then I read. And it was from Mr. Grenville Phillips. And after I read it, I literally cried. I cried because I guess because I was just researching everything, and when I saw how he laid out the whole his concerns based on his research on the cybercrime bill. I said to myself, can you imagine if we had more professionals in Barbados, people that people respect, people with all of those credentials behind their names. Can you imagine if we had those people, and they could write something on it, come out and speak out in the media? You know how far we this would be. I mean, yes, we've hit the streets and we're protesting and so on, but you understand how great this pushback would be. And he was so, his difficult conversations always so well written, very well thought out, well written. And I called him up. I said, um, can you come on tonight? Can you come on tonight? And I want you, what I would like for you to do, Barbadians, when Mr. Grenville Phillips comes on, I know we tend to we perk, our ears perk up, because you want to see the picture with the Pinocchio nose. Those are things you want to see, those fun things, the gossipy stuff. But I want you to. What about you take some notes on the cybercrime bill tonight? Can we have school tonight? Can you take some notes on it and ask some questions based on what he's saying? You understand what I'm saying? Because we need, if I often say, if Barbadians truly understand what is happening, let me tell you, it's over. It's over for this government, and especially this bill. This bill should not be allowed to be passed in Barbados. Listen to Grenville. You don't have to listen to me, but listen to Grenville Phillips. And as you know, he's from Solutions Barbados, and I will tell you that he knows. I voted for Solution Barbados before, so you can always go and say I am a member of Solution Barbados. Say whatever you want to say, and I've told Mr. Phillips, anytime he wants to come on the show, he can come on the show. He can come. He has a space to speak on the show. So, Mr. Phillips, welcome, sir.
Yes. Good night.
It's a pleasure, a real pleasure having you. And I know as a professional, somebody who you have your contracts, you deal with a lot of business and so on. You're sticking out your neck, really, to speak on matters like this that doesn't really necessarily concern you, but you are concerned about your country. And I was moved today when I read difficult conversations. And I want to say to you, as I've said to you all the time, this is your space, sir. You have a space to speak. And I know they don't want to, the traditional media, you've written stuff, they don't want to publish what you write.
Yes. Well, this thing actually concerns me and every literate Barbadian. Just to put it in context, perhaps because of the debt situation or for whatever reason, we have been instructed to pass a cybercrime bill. Now, we already have a Computer Misuse Act. I suppose the government was hoping that the Computer Misuse Act would suffice. Mm-hmm. And it's a fairly decent act. And it deals with misuse of people using the computer. But we had to pass it in accordance with the Budapest Convention.
Yes.
That was passed in 2001. So since our Computer Misuse Act didn't comply with the Budapest Convention, rather than upgrade our act, we decided to write a act in accordance with the Budapest Convention and call it a cybercrime bill, which eventually will become an act once it's proclaimed. That's good. Um, and they did that. They wrote a bill that was in accordance with the Budapest Convention. But what they decided to do was try to include a part that was in the Computer Misuse Act, um, which would have been okay, but they botched it up. They messed it up. They made a real mess of it, an absolute mess of it. So the result is that if this bill was proclaimed and it became law, every Barbadian who used a computer to transmit information, any kind of information, would automatically become a criminal in Barbados, liable to 7 years in prison and a $70,000 fine. Everything that I write, every difficult conversations article, um, any comment that I make on social media would likely find me guilty and liable to $70,000 fine and 7 years in
And
prison.
just let me hasten to say that the maximum for certain there's certain of the crimes could go up to 100,000 or 10 years in jail, right?
Yes. And again, for other things, child pornography or something, I think it's about $250,000. So no one has any problem with those.
Yes.
No one who is complained or concerned has any real difficulty with the Budapest Convention.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is with our a section in the Computer Misuse Act, which rather than take it exactly as it is and put it into the new cybercrime bill, they just messed it up.
So what section is that? So you said that there was a section in the Computer Misuse Act that
Yes.
they took they took it, but then they added some other things to it. And
Yes.
so let's break that down for the people.
Yes. So in section 14 of the Computer Misuse Act, uh, I'll just read it here quickly then. Where a person uses a computer to send a message, letter, electronic communication, or article of any description that A is indecent or obscene, B is or constitutes a threat, or C is menacing in character, and he intends to cause or is reckless as to whether he causes annoyance, inconvenience, distress, or anxiety to the recipient or to any other person to whom he intends it or its contents to be communicated, he is guilty of an offense and is liable on summary conviction for a fine of $10,000 or to imprisonment for a term of 12 months or both. So the reason why this is fair, even though you see the same words there that we're upset about causing annoyance and that sort of thing, the reason why it's fair is um, the hurdles to be cleared to be found guilty are: one, you got to use the computer to send a message, a letter, electronic mail, or article. Two, the message had to be indecent, obscene, threatening, or menacing. And then C, or the third hurdle is the message intended to cause or was reckless as to whether it caused annoyance, inconvenience, etc. So if you do not write a letter that is, or email that is indecent, that is
Yes.
obscene, that is threatening, that is menacing, you don't have to worry about anything.
So this was in the Computer Misuse Act, which we've had for
Yes,
years, right?
yes, yes. So we had no problem with it. What
Right.
then they decided to do is to change it so that um, once you send data that is offensive, that's it. Once you send data that is offensive, um, and you are then in trouble. So before, the offensive data was defined as being indecent or obscene or constitute a threat or is menacing. Offensive data was defined in the Computer Misuse Act. In the Cybercrime Bill, this is where they botched it up. They did not define what offensive is. And therefore, they just said, once you send offensive data and it causes annoyance, or you cause someone to be humiliated or embarrassed, then you're in trouble. So once you send something that is offensive or that offends, that causes someone to get upset, and they feel humiliated or they're annoyed, then you're liable. And that means everything that anyone writes, someone will be upset about. You may not even directly address it to them. Once you send out some information, someone feels upset, or therefore it's offensive. It's automatically offensive if someone feels upset. It's automatically offensive if someone feels offended by the information. And therefore, it's too wide a net.
Too
And
wide,
therefore,
because
too wide,
these are
and
this section 14 here. For those who are watching, I like to break it down. If you've just joined, you are looking here at the Computer Misuse Act, and you see the parameters there in section 14. This is what we're saying is missing in the Cybercrime Bill 2024, because it's too wide and it's broad. It's a big net, and it's going to, as Grenville is saying, Mr. Phillips is saying, the net is wide, and they know what they're doing. It's going to draw in a lot of people, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and so how they do it in the Computer Misuse Act then in section 20, it said a person who intentionally uses a computer system to publish, broadcast, or transmit data that is offensive. And then they say that is pornographic, indecent, vulgar, profane, obscene, or is menacing, or causes any such data to be so sent for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, danger, obstruction, embarrassment, insult, injury, humiliation, intimidation, hatred, anxiety, or causes substantial emotional distress to that person, is guilty of an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $70,000 or to imprisonment for a term of 7 years or both. So I have no difficulty with a pornographic, because I'm not sending any pornographic, with indecent or vulgar, profane, obscene, menacing, but it's offensive. Once you put offensive there, then that's the problem.
Well, actually, Mr. Phillips, what they have done, because seeing that when you and others, we did as well, made a lot of presentations, they went and they changed some of that language. So now they have four. There are four areas, there where one is anxiety, right? So if you make somebody anxious, if you make somebody feel humiliated, if you make them feel intimidated, or what they call substantial emotional distress. Can you imagine?
Yes, but again, I have no difficulty with that if you're going to send out pornographic material.
Yes.
Since I have no intention of sending out pornographic material, whatever distress people feel has nothing to do with me. Because I'm not sending out pornographic material, I'm not sending out threatening material. But no, when you say that offensive material, that is the wide net. That means that includes me and every single computer user, because anything that you write can be considered offensive. Anything that I write cannot be considered pornographic. Anything that I write cannot be considered a threat. I'm very careful in my writing, not to be threatening, not to be menacing, not to write pornographic stuff. But offensive stuff, everything I write is someone will find offensive. If I'm writing something that I don't think the government is doing properly, they're going to be offended. So my target audience is to perhaps offend them so that they can do the right thing.
Yes.
Or congratulate them for doing a good job. But if they're not doing a good job, if potholes are in the road, you've got a pothole here and they're not being repaired properly, someone's going to take offense at that. So that word offense, it has to be defined narrowly, not as wide as it is, because it's too wide and fine and that everybody who writes will be entrapped. So that's one of the concerns. Another concern is, um, and it's linked to this, if you're going to stay with that, the fines are way too high um, for, uh, well, actually, we didn't have to get into that. By not defining offensive, you will always get trapped in the net. So you write one article, and then you pay whatever it is, and then you write another article, and you go pay again. You write another article, you pay again. You spend 7 years in jail, and then you come out to spend another 7. It's madness. So it should not. This should not be there. That's the thing. It should not be there. But the fines in the Computer Miss Act were $10,000 and 1 year in jail, and then that grew to 7 years in jail and $70,000. That's not right. The other part, so that's against our human rights in terms of able to express ourselves, and that's a violation of the Budapest Convention. The Budapest Convention references.
Yeah, before you make reference to it, can you
Okay,
describe what is the Budapest Convention?
right. That's a European convention that um, tries to get a number of countries together to share, first, um, agree on what are common cyber crimes, and then agree to share information with other nations, and um, to protect the information so that it's available, to prosecute and to send over. So it's a good bill for bad actors.
Right.
That's it. The problem is when we were concerned about the part in the Computer Misuse Act and the way that it was botched up and when it was put into the cybercrime bill, we were told by those who support the bill that it had to be this way because we have to comply with the Budapest Convention.
Yes, I
They just
remember.
kept beating us down with that. It's not a homegrown thing. That's what they kept saying. It's not a homegrown thing. We have to comply with the Budapest Convention, and therefore we cannot make any changes to this. We cannot. It has to go in as is. Otherwise, it won't comply with the Budapest Convention. Well, after there was some uproar, and then it was sent to a joint select committee of Parliament. Surprisingly, they made changes to this expanded definition of a cybercrime, which is in our Computer Misuse Act. So they actually made changes, which they said was impossible. You cannot make changes, otherwise it will not comply with the Budapest Convention. Yet they made changes. And now all of those supporters who are beating us down on social media saying you cannot do this, they are now silent. They're quiet. So the Joint Select Committee made recommendations that you take out some of the words, take out annoying, take out insult, take out these words, but still it violates the Budapest Convention because it's one against our human rights to freely express ourselves by having this word in there offensive that is not defined. That's the first thing. And the second thing is if you um, have some information on your computer, then the government can come and they can go and seize your computer. And you may have some passwords on it. According to the Act, you have to give those passwords to the government. You have to give that. So if you don't do that, if you do not help the government to convict you, you are in trouble. You are fined and imprisoned. If you do not help the government convict you, and the Budapest Convention refers to a human right. Let's find it here. This will be section Article 14
Yes.
of Section 3G of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which is referred to in the Budapest Convention. In Article 15 of the Budapest Convention. So Article 15 of the Budapest Convention, just read that part then. So it provides safeguards that shall provide for the adequate protection of human rights and liberties, including rights arising pursuant to obligations it has undertaken under the 1950 Council of Europe Convention for the Protection of Human Rights and Fundamental Freedoms, and the
Yes.
1966 United Nations International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. So this Convention of Civil and Political Rights of the UN, Article 14, Section 3G, states, in the determination of any criminal charge against him, everyone shall be entitled to the following minimum guarantees in full equality: not to be compelled to testify against himself or to confess guilt. You
Mhm.
cannot be compelled to confess guilt. And
Right.
here it is, this, they have somehow botched this thing up so much to as if we are vying to compete with North Korea and other dictatorships like that in repressing citizens. That's what it appears to be. Um, so I'm very concerned. Uh, I don't know why they wouldn't allow us to appear before the select committee. We wrote them and was concerned about this, the violation of rights from the UN and violating the Budapest Convention. But yet they would not allow us to appear before them to argue our um, our case. When you look at the report of the Joint Select Committee, they have a blow-by-blow, very detailed minutes of their deliberations, and they did not even deliberate this part of our submission.
Mhm.
So that is doing Barbados a disservice,
Correct.
and themselves. Really, I don't know. Yeah, they should be interested in a frank debate about it. Because if someone is saying, "Listen, you're violating the Budapest Convention," why would you not want to hear them? Right? Because that's a serious charge. It's a serious charge I'm making. I'm
And
saying
you
that they are violating the Budapest Convention. Why would you not
correct.
want to hear me or even read that part of our submission that
But
explains?
can I tell you, Mr. Phillips, this is why they did not want to hear you, and they did not want to hear Neil Harper. Neil Harper was explaining this exact thing to them. And guess what? They hurry him off. He got on. But this is a man who is this is the area that he studied and very well known in this area and accomplished is the word I'm looking for. And they I remember he was on and they treated him like with no respect at all. So
Well,
and he was speaking on this particular area, the
yeah,
Budapest Convention.
yes. Well, they respected him enough to allow him to appear. They would not even allow us to appear,
They
even though I
wouldn't, yeah,
requested
because you are
repeatedly.
because of what you wrote today, and this is why I said to
Yeah,
come on. They know what they're
yeah,
doing.
yes. Nevertheless, if it eventually passes and becomes law, yes, yeah, we all have to be very careful. Um, because
Listen,
this
we're
is
not
the
even
most,
thinking there, Mister.
yeah, no,
Listen, Mister
but it's
Phillips.
dangerous. This is a dangerous, the other things that they have passed before, all right, they're borderline dangerous, but we can still navigate them. This one, no one can navigate. And therefore, the idea seems to be make everybody guilty and then use selective prosecution. And we've had this before, right? We've had this before where during the election time, because I had the pleasure, to say,
Mhm.
of being there in three um, general elections. And each time we got a letter from
Hmm.
Barbados Light and Power threatening us, basically, saying, do not, basically, under any circumstances, put any of your um, papers or posters on our polls. Do not do it. You cannot do it. It's illegal. And I agree because that's private property. No one can go and put a poster on my wall. It's my wall. It's in my curtilage. You know that word during COVID. It's my property. You cannot go and take your poster of a politician and put it on my house, on the wall of my house. You can't do it. That's my private property. So, like the power are very correct. I cannot. No one can just go and take their poster and put it on their private property. But I asked them, I said, are you going to be selective in this? They said, no, this is going to apply to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Every political party is going to apply to you. I said, I don't believe you, but yet I accept what you say.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe you, right? I don't believe you. I believe you're lying to me. Yes, Barbados has the power. You're lying to me. I don't believe you're going to do anything when the BLP and BLP ignore your letter and do it anyway. You're going to do nothing. That's what I'm telling you. But yet, you can surprise me. You can surprise me. You can give me faith that this is not, you're just trying to intimidate third parties. You can give me some faith, but this is not your intent. To interfere with this election or these elections and intimidate third parties by sending them these threatening letters. So we obeyed, we put nothing on their polls. Nothing. Anything, we went to shops and we asked the owner, do you mind if we put something on? And they said, yes, you can put it on. And we put them up on and all of us did. Put our posters on shops. That's why if you're going to see any of our posters, they were on shops. And we got permission from the owner. But the these and the these, they went and put them on all the poles. And I called like a power.
Yeah.
And they said, you remember that threatening letter that y'all sent me? What happened? Right? And they said, well, Mr. Phillips, we can't do anything about that. If we had put it up, what would you have done with us? Right? You're gonna be full extent of the law against us. What are you doing with them? So this selective use or prosecution, even though it's not from the government side, but again, they could prosecute us. They could take us to court. So this selective, and that's what this bill seems to be, to make everybody guilty. Because once you decide to send out something, publish something, and it doesn't have to be like in the Computer Misuse Act article or email or something like that.
Correct.
This is any data.
Anything.
It could be statistics. I can say, well, here are the statistics now on unemployment, and apparently they don't look too favorable for the government, or an inflation. They may not appear to be favorable to the government, and therefore someone in the Ministry of Finance may feel offended, may get upset, and $70,000 and 7 years in prison for me because someone got upset because it offended them. That is too wide a net, too fine a net. It captures everybody. It is the most dangerous thing I have seen. The most dangerous. Other things pale in comparison to this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'll do something. I'll say this real quick. We have 2 more minutes in this segment. And I want to just say this quickly. That what Mr. Phillips has just said, I hope you're listening. He's saying that they will do, it's like a selective. It is put there for a particular reason. And so, people like Solutions Barbados, or it might be the same DLP, or it might be APP, or it might be me, because, I speak out against the government, or anybody that they have a problem with. They might decide, be very selective on who they're going to prosecute. And the way this is set up is that somebody just needs to go to the police, and then the police come and knock on your door and take you down to the station. That's how it works. Because it's a criminal offense.
And take away your computer.
And take away your computer. So we want you to understand. And I had some videos, but we will show some of those videos throughout this week, because as we prepare to go, we're going to keep, speaking on it. And Mr. Phillips, you're free to come back any other night if there's any other area you felt like you want to break it down some more, because we need people from all walks of life to be interested in this and to educate the people. I think it's important, and we want to give them some homework based on what you were talking about here. The Budapest Convention, to look at Article 14. Write it down, everybody. Budapest Convention, Article 14, 15, and 21. And you're going to compare and see what it says. That if you're going to use, I think, Article 15, you have to refer to Article 21, right? Yes, something like that. But all 3 of those work together. 14, 15, and 21, and see that the Barbados government is violating the Budapest Convention. And I believe that is one of the reasons that they called us. after we made the complaint. I believe that is one because why would they, if it was something flippant, why would they ask us to take a plane and go all the way up to Washington? You know. So, Mister, we have 2 minutes. What else do you
Okay.
want to say to the people before we go?
Uh, well, if it passes, then um, you should be prepared to take up your cross and follow Jesus. That's the only way out. Because it's such a dangerous bill. Um, yeah, that's it. We've gone into a different phase of Barbados, a different phase completely. So I'm hoping that the government does the right thing, that they're willing to at least engage in this. I know they already have the select committee, but again, they did not behave as they should have because they did not consider all aspects of this. Um, so that's essentially what I would say. Just pick up your cross, follow Jesus, because you're going into hard times. We will be. I know it sounds like hyperbole. It sounds like being alarmist, but I don't think we've had something this dangerous uh, ever.
You heard? Did you hear
Uh,
that? I
it-
want you to say that again. Let me just let me just. I know Dave has this up, but let's just put you on the screen, and I want you to say talk to them about the danger of this bill, please.
yes, everybody now uses a computer or cell phone, and they use it to engage, uh, send messages, but also to engage in social media. Anything that they write will likely offend someone. It's impossible that you will not offend someone. As Jesus said, it's impossible that no offense should come, but woe to them by whom it comes. So you will offend someone in something that you say. Even though, as I'm saying this, someone is going to get upset and feel offended. That should not make me a criminal. It should not make anybody who uses a computer to try and engage and discuss things. Every time you're going to discuss something and come with a different point of view, you're going to offend someone. That's just natural. It's a natural human response to feel a little offended. And then you try and gather your points and then you try and rebut what you heard. But it's a natural human response to feel offended. That should not make the person that made you feel that way a criminal. It should not. And this cybercrime bill criminalizes those who make others feel that offense. So that's why this one is, I believe, the most dangerous bill we've ever produced, perhaps since the time of slavery when they were really trying to crack down on something else. This one, certainly, since we've been independent, this one has to be the most dangerous bill we have ever had. So and it's dangerous, it's the most dangerous because it impacts every Barbadian, every literate Barbadian who uses a computer. And I think the government is so blind to this, they have some blinders on. Um, and, and it is tragic that they're not willing to engage on this point. That's what's tragic.
Yeah, it is, and to the point where they are ready to spend taxpayers' dollars, okay, to send their team of lawyers to defend such a treacherous bill against the citizens of Barbados. And I
Yeah,
want Barbadians to stop and to think about that. Think about it. Very
yeah. But,
important.
but a few seconds, I am still hopeful that they're doing this in some ignorance. They have been advised, but they have been badly, very badly advised. I'm hoping that the Prime Minister and those who are um, really in charge can can just rein them back and say, "Are you sure?" Listen to what he said. Did you read? Ask them, please read my submission. Read our submission about violating the cybercrime. Sorry, violating the
The
Budapest Convention.
Budapest.
Yes, just is it true, right? So that's it.
Yeah.
But again, we
Yes.
have to do all we can right to
Well,
the end.
I thank you so very much for
Yeah.
being on and for breaking it down. And as I said, as the weeks go on, we're going to invite you again, and you just got to, all you got to do is message me.
Okay.
and you'll be able to come back on. Thank you so very much, Mr. Felix. All the
Take
very
care now.
best to you and Solutions Barbados. God bless.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes, bye bye. Listen, folks, I tell you, this is serious business we're dealing with here. Very, very serious business. And, as he said, it is the most dangerous. Now, this is the picture. I put up this picture. Do you know that if I put up this Pinocchio picture here on this, that whoever created the picture or put up the picture would get could go to jail or pay a fine up to 10 years in prison and up to $100,000. Do you understand that? And there are lots of us. We could go through so many things that to us, when we look on it, we're not calling anybody a liar, but there were promises that were made to us that will cause us to feel like you lied to us. For example, even the independent republic, we heard you tell us that there will be a referendum. Did you lie to us? And if I put up this picture and ask you if you lied to me about it being a republic, that you said we were going to have a referendum, you did not. I'm liable to feel like, oh, well, you lied to me because you told me something and I believed you. All this stuff in your manifesto, quite a number of things inside of your manifesto that you told me that you were going to do the first 100 days. I could easily call you a Pinocchio, government. I could easily say you're lying to me. And if I say you're lying to me and I put up this picture, I'm going down to Dodds. They're going to send the police, and I hear the police car come here and they grab me and they're going to take me away. This is what I'm saying. And can you imagine what happens at election time? So your opponents, you basically shutting down your opponents. You're basically making up your mind to have a one-party state. You have decided that there is this. Well, if you go through with this, that's what's going to happen. Because I'm saying if you have all these lawyers that you plan to send, they're going to tell me that none of them can tell you that you are breaking the Budapest Convention on the same cybercrime bill that you said must be aligned to the Budapest Convention. You don't know that you're doing that? Wow. But let me just bring Mr. Murray on. Mr. Murray, good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, ma'am. You had a very strong and powerful opening. I hope I can rise to that level also.
Yes, you will, because I was talking about the independence and the fact that we were told. I remember that there would be a referendum, and if I was a child and my parents told me that, listen, if you do well in school, I'm going to think. And years passed and you didn't do anything. And you went in my mind as a child, I'm going to say, but mom and dad, you lied. And you never came back to me and said anything to me. There might be circumstances. You just said you went ahead and did what you had to do. If you came and you said, well, I told you there would be a referendum, da 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 da. No, and you know what? We move ahead with it, Mr. Murray. And here you are talking about this mixed message and that's where the mixed message is coming from with independence and republicanism, because you promised something and you didn't do it. Mr. Murray, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to commend Dr. Phillips for another very forceful presentation. And I have to say, it's in keeping with the common mere spirit, up and on, up and on. He's never afraid to speak truth to power. And if it must be said, it must be said. But I think what we are seeing now, as we talk about independence and republicanism, what has emerged is that this government has been carefully crafting an elitist attitude, an elitist group, the benefits, etc., the friends, the family fornicators. And the group is in order to preserve themselves, advance their own selfish interests. There's a certain group thinking going on that people don't like to step out of line for fear of being unpopular, losing privileges. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, you go along with what is being said. So much so that's why you see such idiotic things happening, and nobody's saying anything because they don't want to break rank, want to be part of the group,
Correct.
of the group thinking. And so much so that you don't forget the chairman of the parliamentary uh, committee bill on this matter,
The Joint
Mr.
Select
Hinckley,
Committee. Joint
right?
Select
Mr.
Committee, yes.
He argued that there was a distinction between freedom. You can have freedom of expression is not freedom of speech is not the same as freedom of expression. Remember that
Yes, and
the freedom
that
of
Barbados doesn't have freedom of speech.
that's right. I mean, I only went to school in August every Saturday in August, and I'm not even a stamp pilot, but that is so idiotic that if that is the thinking, then from the chairman, who should be one of the leading members of the committee, you understand why we are in the mess that we're in. But I want to thank you also for some of your earlier presentation on the food, the Barbadian foods at independence. It was glad to hear that. I don't know if you came across them anyway in my book yet. If you read
Yes, I
that part,
did. I
good,
did.
good,
Yes.
good. Yeah, good, excellent. But the reason why I thought I'd come up with this topic, mixed signals over independence and republicanism, is that it goes back. Let me put it in context. It goes back to lighting ceremony on last Friday. It goes back also
Mm-hmm.
to the painting of the floor at Foundation School a few weekends ago for the Barbados Labour Party's
Mm-hmm.
annual conference. Now, on the lighting ceremony, I thought that with the Prime Minister speaking and being present at the lighting ceremony, taking a leading role, that it would have provided her with an excellent opportunity to try to reestablish her credentials, her commitment to her respect for, and her utilization of the Barbados national colors and silk.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, she wore a white outfit, decorated with red on a scarf, and the floor of foundation was all red. Almost everything was red. But then, when I saw her speak at the lighting ceremony last Friday, she wore
Mm-hmm.
a black outfit with red decoration on the sleeve, or the cuffs, the epaulets on the shoulders, and right down the front. Admittedly, it's the same outfit she wore to late Henry funerals early that day.
Yes.
But I'm saying that she had enough time between that morning funeral, knowing that she had to go to Bible Lighting Ceremony, a national occasion at which
Correct.
the president will be there to change. I did not see the president on camera, but she has always expressed and exhibited a commitment to Barbadian culture in a very fashionable way, in a very fashionable outfit. So I'm sure she was not dressed in green or black. She
Well,
had the floor.
if I can say, she wasn't dressed in Barbados colors for the lighting ceremony, but she had a huge corsage
Okay.
on
So
her right, her left breast,
there you are.
very
There
very
you are.
big,
There
with
you
the
are.
colors beautiful, very
And, and,
tasteful.
and as usual, and I do not buy the excuse that some person will make to me that that the prime minister was too busy to go. She was on her way from Coleridge. She could have dropped in the Lara Court with her and make a change of clothing. Unless, and if she does not think it's important, does she have advisors around her to tell her there's a
Yes.
national? No, so I mean, is it that they don't hear? She does not listen. They can't say. They're ignored. Above that, she has a greater personal staff for herself than all the other prime ministers ever had together. So there are people who should know. But that apart, she has had the first director of protocol in the prime minister's office in the person of Jessica Odell, who should know and see about these things. You don't make these kind of foul ups on Nash. So there's no excuse. I remember that when I worked with Prime Minister Adams or Prime Minister Arthur, even they will call you, or they ask to come and check to make sure everything is in place, because they realize the importance. But they didn't have this big staff at various levels to look after it. So there's no excuse why the Prime Minister would go wearing black and red on a national occasion. And I said, I would bet you she's scheduled to go to the Remembrance Day service next on Sunday. Right? I bet you she does not go in red and black. I bet you she go in very sober, somber colors. Right? And if you remember these, remember their service, which commemorate those who lost their lives during the First and Second World
Mhm.
Wars. It's a colonial relic. But I'm sure she will pay deference to the protocols and the traditions and the standards of that inherited, retained. I have no offense that we retain, because you cannot. It's impossible and idiotic to try to eradicate everything from our history that people will consider colonial. There are things that are colonial. There are things from Africa, etc. It is what history is. What it is, right? It is what it is, and you live with it that way. But I bet you that she will not do the same. She will not disrespect the people of Barbados. She will not disrespect the protocols, the traditions, by going to the Representative Service in black and red. And therefore, I think that again, she lost a chance, like I said, to redeem herself in Leighton ceremony. Um, and apart from that, she did not. She did not. She did not. I thought in her speech too, she would have used the occasion to reassure Barbadians who are concerned about the ad hoc ramshackle development that's happening all over Bridgetown,
Right.
without a clear indication as what will be retained. I thought she would kind of say, I know there are concerns about the development of the new buildings and etc. Old buildings being taken down, but be assured that the main character of Bridgetown, which which has a UNESCO designation of Bridgetown and its garrison, right? That will not be lost. But no, there was no mention of that. She spoke, and I thought there was an opportune time to do it, just to give an outline as to what things are happening, but you're not putting them in any context. You can't see any clear picture emerge. You can't clear see what's happening. But she did make a mention of that. In 4 years' time, Barbados would celebrate its 400th anniversary of Bridgetown. All the more reason as to say what Bridgetown is likely to be like then.
Exactly.
So I thought that she failed miserably on those two occasions for the for the for the lighting ceremony, also the content, and
Hmm.
also for a failure to wear. I begin to wonder whether there's any objection, any disassociation of not being able to wear the national color. You have the national color, the flag, you have the lighting and the bunting, etc. Why is it that on these occasions that we can't have her pay respect and pay deference, right?
Hmm.
To Barbados. And that brings me on now to in Barbados we used to have, ever since independence, there were three main events. Um, the parade at the garrison or elsewhere if bad rain, a national multi-faith service, and also a reception at the Prime Minister's residence uh, for independence. It would have started in 1966 with Mr. Barrow, who would have been Prime Minister, and whose official residence was then down at Colonial Farm, which is next door, not in very bad shape, but very next door to the National Insurance Building. And that went on. It was held there until Prime Minister Adams took it to Elara Court. So you would have, and that went on. There would be on, especially Independence Day, there'd be a mass event, 5,000 6,000 people of all walks of life, from the high, industry, church, everybody was there. Members of the opposition, all kinds of people were, and this was the one occasion at Independence where the high and the mighty never met together equal. There were no distinctions because you were all in the same common compound, etc. It used to be a magnificent occasion for Barbados who could feel good going to Elarico and especially meeting and talking to whoever they want to, people who they only see on TV or the newspaper. So it generated a lot of social cohesion and social capital. People talked and chatted, and he used to be a very good human and free, etc. And that went on, I think, until about 2007. And then when the government changed in 2008, it has gone into abeyance, where I was told when they checked that Prime Minister Phillips changed it into a reception for the people from diaspora who were visiting Barbados, thereby depriving the average Barbadian of a chance to enjoy it as a taxpayer on that once in a year occasion, might even be my only once in a lifetime occasion to go and rub shoulders with everybody at LR Court. I think no since then the average Barbadian only goes to LR Court to pay for a paid fare, a paid event. But there's not that mass opportunity. There's select events. It's a more exclusive gathering. I think that rub again, especially at the time of republicanism. Or one of the essences of republicanism, equality, liberty, and fraternity, brotherhood, equality. So that is why in republics you do not have a lot of titles and distinctions because we're all supposed to be on. And here we have gone from a constitutional monarchy under the Queen. We've gone republic in name, basically in name, but in a very ramshackle kind of way, where we don't even have a republic there to celebrate. We don't know if we're going to celebrate this year or whatever, or how. And you're going where you are expressing, you have established distinctions. Let me give what I mean. We and as a constitutional monarchy, and then both as a colony and as an independent country, the people were awarded honors, imperial honors. Then they became Barbadian honors, national honors. But and so that expressed distinction. Sir David this and some lady that were the distinctions that we inherited. Okay, we have not carried forward in a republic which is supposed to be more about equality. All citizens are supposed to be on the same level. We don't carry the sir and lady into it, but we carry the most honorable. The most honorable is the equivalent to a knighthood.
Right.
So we have gone. So we are still establishing a new gradation, a new standard of elitism, and that became. So now you have lots of the most honorable, right? Which I think is that if you're a republic, it's unnecessary because you're supposed. But don't forget, after the COVID, when people were being honored and rewarded, people who were people pushers, bureaucrats, got the most honorable for doing their job. They did not invite anything. They did not invent anything. They did their job. But again, the honors were given. I felt that everybody should have got the same honor after them, savior of Barbados or defender of Barbados. But no, a few got the most honorable, a permanent secretary, a minister, a few ministers. I think that we are defeating, we are establishing another level of distinction where people want to be distinguished from others. It's not good. So I'm getting confused as to where we are. I know we have no paper, we don't know Republic Constitution on paper, but we are saying something. What is happening, and you can't reverse that when you come back, or you can't take away people's honor. And it brings me that has to me further added to the syndrome in Barbados, the fad in Barbados, where everybody seems to want a title. Even like for example, the title of cultural ambassador.
Right.
I think that was first introduced by Prime Minister Arthur. And when he asked him about it, after people were using it for years, as though it was meant as an honorific title, just to give recognition for a particular performance at a particular time. So when you see the press in Barbados is so lazy that you see people being described as cultural ambassador. First, there was no letter of written of appointment. There was no swearing in. There was no specific services. There was no office. There was no passport. There was no money. It was just a verbal title to give recognition. So when you see these cultural, they're really misnomers, and they're again distinction leaders. It is like everybody wants to be a doctor or
Yeah.
honorary doctor. Honorary doctor, the protocol used to be that an honorary doctorate was only used if an honorary doctor from University of Cambridge or from University of West Indies, it would only be mentioned if you were doing something in connection with that university. But as a way of life, it was just something. It's honorary. You did not do any exams. You were not interviewed. You're not. So it's not something that you earn. It was given as an honorary thing which you don't earn for. So while they stand in their right, we have developed this practice now where on doctor, the most honorable, your cultural amount, all of them are being lumped together.
Hmm.
I lumped together. And to me, it's confusing the image that you're creating in society for your citizens who work well, work hard, are honest at themselves, um, do not get that recognition because it's being handed out to the person. And that also brings me further to even the JPs, Justice of Peace. That is another thing which before I do that, I do not agree. I feel the only titles per person have after their name, what I call post law name, are academic things that are whatever you have earned at school, BA, MA, etc. Right? I do not agree, for example, that long-standing lawyers should be King's Counsel, Queen's Counsel, Senior Counsel. We don't do it. We don't do it for doctors. Doctors work 30, 40, 50 years and they have their reputation, but they're not, and they have their own official designation that they have to pay for and earn. But they cannot advertise themselves as uh, a senior doctor or a most outstanding doctor. So I feel that these practices are doing damage to the society where we, in a republic, we're supposed to be all equal, etc. And the same thing now is happening, I think, with the JPs. The JPs are very honorable,
But
necessary.
can I say something, Mr. Murray? You are educating us about what republicanism is more than what this government has done.
Yes,
They
sir.
just made the change, and the average Barbadian, we don't understand. People just don't understand.
You know something? I don't think they understood either because there's no plan, there's no program that you can't follow the step to the formal introduction and establishment of a republic any structured way. There are a couple of odd thoughts that we're doing in Parabec, but you cannot find a structured, coherent. So the whole thing has not, as usual, has not been properly thought through and anticipated. So we're stumbling from one thing to the next as we go along, and therefore you don't feel there's any difference, or not any difference that you appreciate and of which you can be proud. No one. So you begin to get on yourself. I won't call it a banana republic because you don't have that many. We talk a rampant republic. It's just a free for all, right? And it does not. And what is so offensive about it is that is doing injury to the reputation Barbados has always had, previously had, until the last few years where we see all our institutions crumbling. Of being very careful, organized, structured, decent, manage things done in a particular way all the time. In fact, at one time Barbados was called the best managed black country in the world
Hmm.
because of how we perform. And that came from even when it was a colony. So that tradition has been destroyed, undermined, spoiled, I think, by what we're seeing now, um, uh, uh, for independence and also for still emerging, creeping, crawling republicanism. And we need to break ahead. We need to concretize it in a way that we know. Is there a republic song that you know? Is there a republic song?
We don't-
I, t- I tell you what, there was there was a republic song then, I think around 1999, when there was talk of republic, and some pushers, some aggressive people went ahead and got a song recorded. There's a Republic song on record. I could probably have a CD of it somewhere in my collection. But you do not hear it. I think it was sung. I think it was might have been composed and sung by the mighty Gabby. But there's a Republic song. But so there are no symbols there. Okay, we have our flag, a symbol. We have our colors, ultramarine black and gold, not yellow. We have our pledge. We have our anthem. These are all symbols that you need if you are going to create an impact and create an identity and co-create
But
a
Mr. Murray,
cohesion.
in her speech, in her speech, someone was saying to me today that this lighting ceremony speech, is it that? I don't know if I'm mixing it up, where she said that we would be looking at our reevaluating or reviewing our symbols. Isn't that what was said? Somebody can correct me on that, but I thought that is what I understood. That we are going to review the parliamentary reform, and we're going to also review the new constitution and our symbols. So I don't know if this is what
this is the thin edge of the wedge. So we can probably I recall hearing that, but I did not focus on that as much as other parts of the speech. But that's interesting. There's probably because as I always say, I don't believe in coincidences. So that is signaling you that some of our symbols can be redesigned and changed to reflect other things, other things in Barbados. But what was there a canvassing? Was there a canvassing of public opinion about changing the symbols, and people submitted?
No,
submitted?
There was nothing like that. Let me find out if Dave, can I read? Can I read what is on the screen? I have to get permission to read what's on the screen. I haven't heard. Hey, go ahead, Mr. Murray.
Yeah, but that announcement, I remember that announcement because I remember it was attached to the announcement that the reports of the Constitutional Review Committee and the Parliamentary Review Commission, that they're now going to be put online and be circulated to the public in the printed form. In print, would you believe that? In printed form. And I hope that we go back to that tradition where all those documents were produced by the government printing, and people can go and buy them for themselves, examine them for themselves in print for a few cents, and the printing would make some revenue. So these ones now, which we did not do when we were going to anything to do with Republic, etc., or many other things in Barbados. The cybersecurity bill was not circulated en masse. It was online, etc., but it's not given that same treatment where you can go out and buy a copy from the government. There used to be a kiosk in Independence Squares run by Government Information Service. Rather than journeying all up to Bay Street, you could go to this booth and buy government documents. It is something which you should probably, with this, restart it by putting it in the post offices, where it would be convenient for people in their own surroundings to get these documents on a regular basis. You can go and buy government documents and keep the public informed. But I don't know whether it's a change of heart. I don't know whether there's something special about these things that they want to get into persons, but things that we did not have, that only put online now, like the order paper for the House of Assembly, the Senate. They used to be circulated days in advance in the past. You could go to the government print and buy a copy. Newspapers will have the early week and write, so you would know what is. On a day-to-day basis, I don't know what is happening when the houses meet. I have to go and learn, or somebody tells me. But the order papers will go and stories will be written, or GIS will write stories saying the house is due to debate the bill on the deep water. So it will alert the public, and people are more involved. That is not happening. It just goes there in a static form, and the rest is left, I guess, to social media and the government paid influencers and whatnot.
Wow.
But I wanted to also make some
right. So we have about 2 more minutes in this segment.
All right. Let me make quick comments about the JPs, and I confess that I have an interest in this because when we got the government in '94, this was one of the areas of responsibility given to me: upgrade and revamp the whole justice of the peace
Yes.
system and process. And we had I had a committee, the more curtain, a large committee that reviewed it, and upgraded and made changes, etc. We made a lot of good changes, but we were always also very careful because of the role it performed in the society with documents and working with the police, etc., authorizing, collecting, um, consigning um, warrants, etc. That we felt that we should always look at the highest caliber of person to fill those posts: responsible, trusted, respected. But admittedly, there's always been an element of politics in it. There are some people who you would give some political support as a reward, or because they might have the required skills and be a political support. But I now to admit it. But no, as of late, as of late, I shudder. I shudder. I think therefore it is not doing this again. But you'll be surprised. People are the Barbarian psyche likes so much these things. When it was known that I was in charge of revamping the process, I got calls from people with, with great money in Barbados,
Mm-hmm.
well established, who wanted to be considered. They told me, I was surprised. They told me, I want to confess, we have money and prominence, but we want regard, we want
Ah,
noticing, we want attention, we want to stand. So I understand that. So and I after a while I used to call it the poor man's knighthood. Call people, people were so hankering after the JP thing, and it has become so polluted. I think now is that there's actually a man in Christchurch who starts off by introducing himself as just peace, like just you was if you had one, just a piece, Marcel Weeks. No, and the press has carried him. I start a story with him.
listen, but this is all political, and it's
Of
a
course,
giveaway. It becomes just bread and circuses. It's the same kind of concept where they give that away to you, you know. But Mr. Murray, as usual, very interesting. I can see people are commenting all over in the comment section. But there was an article Dave had up. I don't know if we can read it again. It's gone completely. But
what
to kind of it kind of goes along with what you are saying. Yes.
if you could give me this, if you could give me a synopsis or a paraphrase of it, I might have read it
Yeah,
too.
it's gonna come up now. Let's come up. Let me
Okay,
read it. And Mr. Thorne is on his way, just so because we announced that he will be on. So Mr. Thorne is on his way. I know he was coming from that amazing meeting right there in what's that, St. Philip North. That there was all of that stuff around. And we have to show those pictures, Mr. Murray. But let me just read this article here, because at least some of it I know this is a great article. Is that the beginning of it? The
right,
two commissions on reforming the Constitution of Barbados and Parliament have submitted their reports to ministers, and Barbadians will have the opportunity to review their recommendations this month, with a final decision on the report anticipated by January. Prime Minister Motley announced on Friday. And so this was announced at the lighting ceremony, Mr. Murray.
right.
And
That's right. I heard
right.
it.
The announcement came as she addressed the annual lighting of Hera Square and Parliament buildings in a ceremony sponsored by Sagicor. The Constitutional Reform Commission's report has been submitted to President Dame Sandra Mason and the Prime Minister's office, said Motley. The Cabinet has agreed that both the Constitutional and Parliamentary Reform Commission reports will be made available to the public digitally and in print throughout November, with public discussions and input on the reports expected to follow promptly. If we could go up a little bit so I can continue reading. Okay, I'm not moving. I can think of no better occupation during the month of November as we re-engage, as we reignite, as we reimagine for us to review the recommendation of those two reports. The third committee, chaired by the former cabinet secretary Cecile Humphrey, on the
Right,
national
right.
emblems of our country, will also be engaging with the Barbadian public in this month of November, the Prime Minister said. So listen carefully. They are going to talk about our emblems, the national emblems. What does that mean? We don't know. So on this first day of November, as we agree to move forward in light with purpose, we must have the conversation that will cause us to see whether the parliamentary reform for the first time in 53 years is absolutely necessary as recommended by that commission, and similarly whether the Constitution of Barbados that was settled by the Right Excellent Errol Walter Barrow upon the settlement of independence in the Parliament of the day, whether we are prepared to now have a new constitution under the Republic of Barbados. How many years now? Is it 3 years now, Mr. Murray? That we're
Ja- ja-
Republic?
yeah, that's right. That's right. But
Motley and
what? Go
go ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead. And then I'll ask my question at the end. Go
At
ahead.
the end, Motley encouraged Barbadians to come out and engage in discussion around the reports, given their importance to the country going forward. She said, I look forward to Barbadians embracing the opportunity for rigorous discussion, for sharing views, and ultimately, when all that is done, then the Cabinet of Barbados will reflect upon the reports and the consultations, and the decisions to governments will come early next year. Okay?
Yeah.
And she said, I look forward. Motley also urged Barbadians to dedicate the month of independence to passing down Barbadian culture and traditions to the younger generations, warning that without this effort, young people may miss out on understanding the unique beauty of the Barbadian heritage. Well, she understands that. This is why we needed to know. You needed to explain to us what kind of republic this is. Let us all remember to share the stories of our upbringing and so on and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, thank you,
But yeah,
Dave.
my question, the announcement about the third committee's work about the symbols, she said that committee is going to be engaging the Barbarian public. She never said that that report will be published. And then you can say it said it'll be engaging. Because I'm very weary and suspicious of these public engagements because I did them all mostly like if they're managed by government, like the Paris speaks, where it is controlled and contrived and is suppressed, etc. If I do not think if for these committees, government should not be people, there should be persons for the commission or there should be other person other than government explaining or answering questions of these reports. Because first of all, they're not the authors of it. They don't know it as well. But I think it should be a free-ranging discussion where the process and discussion is not managed and controlled by persons who want to have the dialogue go in a particular direction to come to a particular conclusion. It should be free, and an apolitical person should chair those meetings, those engagements with the public, and manage it in a proper, professional, respectful manner and fair to all the citizens, and not a managed, controlled where you are you're starting from a contrived position, a decided position, and you work backwards to what you want to hear and say.
Mhm.
But I'm glad for this move. I welcome it. Long last, thanks for small mercies that we get in documents. That I like documents that I can write up, underline, dog ear, turn back, right? In a way that you can't do when you're online. So I look forward to being done and done well and make it affordable for the public to buy copies for themselves. Because these are going to be historic documents also.
Yes, yes, yes. Very, very, very important. I think, and I think people are a little nervous about these emblems. What do they mean? When they talk about they're going to be reviewing the emblems. You know,
No.
you wonder what is this all about? So we
What
will
what
wait
what
and
what what
see.
what I'm afraid of, and it came up also when she talked about in the education how they're going to be resorted. Or it's Ubuntu. It is Ubuntu or this African is African philosophy that barely says that we are all together in humanity. You are me, we're all together. I think Ubuntu is practiced in certain African countries. It might have uh, right, but and it was said by the chief education officer that this that the education process is going to be decolonized and deconstructed, reconstructed and eradicate the colonial. And their people were now getting stories in local stories and their heroes as put up with the heroes. What I'm saying, what I'm worried about is these people who are about who will write the stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think that should be very careful. My favorite should not be given chance to make money, write stories to make money. It should be open to the public. It should be very selective because you're gonna be conditioning the minds and the knowledge of generations to come. And there is no real benefit in the same way that we will find or we found objection to some of the so-called colonial things. Because let me say, Marcy, I don't get obsessed with colonialism because um, I would like to remember Barbados that cricket cricket is a product of colonialism too.
Correct.
Will we eradicate cricket? I mean, we took it and turned it into our own, like we've done it
It's
other
part
parts.
of our history. It's part of the
Precisely.
history.
But now we're supposed to be getting our heroes, writing our history from whose perspective, from whose part. Well, we have to be very, very careful that we don't just fall into that trap where the narrative is contrived and controlled and decided for the betterment of society, where a narrow group, an elitist group, rather than for the general society, will have an input into it.
Yes. Well, Mr. Murray, I tell you, I think people are really charged up about this. But let us play. We have this song that Dave has put together with all of the independence activities. So if Dave could just play that for us now. No. Yes, yes. I think that he's working on something at the moment there. Okay.
Great, great,
But
great.
folks, can I just say, yeah, Mr. Murray, you were saying something? Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go. I look forward to hearing the music because the
Okay.
music is an essential part of Barbadiana.
Yes, 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 yes.
My country to me is a sense of feeling free and having the right to speak your mind out. That is my country to me. It is the air I breathe. I'm so proud to be born here, and the love and beauty that surround us. We share it day by day. That is my country to me. I will not look down. I will always keep my head up high and share with pride and industry. And people will always respect what Barbados means to me. My country to me. My country to me. Is the children's land. Is the children's land. Loving each other. That is my country to me. It is the air I breathe. I'm so proud to be born here, and the love and beauty that surround us. We share it day by day. That is my country to me.
Ah,
Very good.
wonderful. You love it.
Yeah, can I congratulate the DLP for coming up with a program of activities, structured program, well in advance that people can know about. Uh, all I know, as far as I know, we have not heard the government announcement or any activities where the parade will be held. So they're beating the government here, and the government really should really be ashamed of themselves that they can allow themselves to be beaten when they are in the driver's seat. They're setting national program. And they remind me that I do not have any great promotion to the lighting ceremony and other events for community independence I used to be to pass. And that what the DLP has done, or what Dave has done for the DLP, used to be routinely done by GIS. and send out to promote the feeling and the activities to promote the wholesomeness of Barbadians celebrating Barbados as a nation. So well done, DLP, and I hope they're successful. At least we don't have to worry now about. We have to wait and see what will happen for Republic, if or anything at all.
And we, as you mentioned, DLP, we had announced that Mr. Thorne is going to be coming on, and but while you saw me back and forth and on my phone, he got in. I didn't see the whole message. But he got in this evening from that wonderful meeting they had, and he is just not feeling 100%. And
Fair
I
enough.
heard he had a little fender bender too,
Wow.
as well. So please, we ask you. He's asking for our understanding. He's not able to come on, so we're just apologizing on his behalf tonight that he's not able to come on, right? So Mr. Thorne is not going to be able to be on tonight. We announced that. And so, let's allow him to rest. I know that he's doing quite a lot. And
Good.
so we just want to make sure that he's resting up.
But
And yes,
I don't know what else who else you have on the program, what else you have in mind.
yes.
But if not, we could talk some more about independence and from your
we
perspective.
could, and I'm going to tie it all in, but I want to talk about this meeting here, Mr. Murray,
Okay.
tonight. I know in the week that you actually had sent me something.
Okay, go ahead. I understand.
Yes, you sent me something in the week about St. Philip North.
Right,
And
right.
about Mr. Lashley, Michael
All the
Lashley,
confusion, yeah.
and that they're claiming that there's confusion. But what I do know is that, let me just say, I'm in St. Philip, and one of the great things that happened with my children, they went to Bailey's, and Mr. Murray, they would come home all the time and they would talk to me about Minister Lashley and the work he was doing at their school in Bailey's, And so my what I know of Mr. Lashley, Michael Lashley, is that he's a very good MP. The people, he works. We have the lighting. The whole of King George V Park is lit up, and you go in there and you just get lost in this world there. It's just beautiful what he would do during the time when he was MP in St. Philip North. And I just want to say that when I heard, what was going on, I tried to, what they were alleging was happening. So I did my own research. I always like to do that. I'm not going to just follow what I hear on WhatsApp. And I had the opportunity. I think there's an echo coming from your mic. So I'm going to turn off your mic a little bit. Right. I had the opportunity to speak with the chairman the chairperson for the branch. She's a young lady. And I don't know if Dave has her picture there to put up. We're going to put up the picture at some point. But there's a young lady, Janine Butcher. And very young. And she's from the Young Dems. And believe it or not, she is the chairperson there and has worked with Mr. Lashley for so many years. I mean, she's been one of those that have been on the ground working with him in the community, in the constituency. And so I know that she wrote to Mr. Lashley and invited him to be a speaker because that's a constituency that he normally runs in. I mean, they haven't chosen the candidates as yet for the different areas. I think that's what I'm getting to understand, or they haven't been announced. But Janine Butcher, this is her second meeting that she's had in that constituency. And I have the letter right in front of me here that was written to Mr. Michael Lashley to invite him to be a speaker at the meeting. Not just him, but Miss McLean was invited. And if you look in the picture, you will see Miss McLean. Miss McLean was there as well. Kimar was a speaker. Paul Gibson was a speaker. Senator Ryan Walters was a speaker, and they all responded in the affirmative, and they spoke there tonight. They were all there tonight, okay? And I know the 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 political leader of the Democratic Labour Party was also there, and they had a beautiful meeting. But Mr. Michael Lashley, from my research, did not respond. And that's unfortunate because, the people love him in St. Michael North. St. Philip North, and I'm not sure why he did not respond to that. Now, there's also I checked into another thing, Mr. Murray, because I was told that, and I saw it in the newspaper as well, actually. I saw it in the newspaper on Saturday, where it is being said that Mr. Lashley, well, the chairperson was told not to put Mr. Lashley to speak in the constituency. Isn't that interesting? Because if that was really the order that she would have gotten, we have the letter here inviting him to speak. And all of the speakers got the same letter.
I think it would be useful if you were to read some of the letter,
Okay,
just for the public, right? So let us hear what the letter said to him.
Yes, hold a second, please. Let me find that. Let me find the letter and read the letter. It's right here in my phone. Thank you for that. October. So let me just show it here. Yes, I took that. So this is the letter that's there. Okay,
right.
That's the letter. Okay. That's the letter.
Good.
And it says here, St. Philip North Branch, and Chairman Janine Butcher, and it has all, very well done. It's the young woman in her 20s, very good, very professional. And it says October 17, 2024, there, Mr. Lashley, KC First Vice President, she addresses him. The St. Philip North, I'm going to turn off your mic again because there's a echo coming in. The St. Philip North Executive invite you to be a speaker at our branch meeting on Sunday, November 3rd. That's today, right? The location will be in St. Philip North, but has not been finalized as yet. We do look forward to having you. So this same letter, I see the letter was sent to, I have copies of the letter that was sent to Kemar Stewart and the same letter. They just changed the name there, and everybody else responded except him, right? So I just want to say, and yes, I see Ms. Corbin is saying that the meeting was excellent, that they were there and they dealt with national issues. What's great about this situation is I love the fact that Janine honored Mr. Lashley in inviting him. And I know she's also sent me other messages where she's been trying to reach out to Mr. Lashley and so on. And she, it'd be interesting to know why Mr. Lashley did not attend, because my understanding, based on the research that I have done, that no one has said that Mr. Lashley cannot speak on the platform. So Mr. Lashley would have to, I suspect, if that's something that's gone to the newspaper, he would need to bring the proof that he was not that he the advice is that he's not to speak, because here it is, the chairman of the branch is sent out this letter to him, and also have WhatsApp messages he asks where is it going to be held. So it's not that, don't say that he didn't receive it, because the follow-up is there with the WhatsApp messages. Where is it going to be held? And she says, we're working on the venue, etc., etc. Okay. So I think that, as I said, I like to, Mr. Murray, I let me open your mic if you have anything to say before. Dave, if you could put up some of the pictures again, please. But
Thank you for putting it in that context and for also giving us an update on the what transpired, how the tone and tenor of the meeting today. Because given what had been circulated in the social media about the threats and the confusion, etc., change of venue, it is clear. I think what we are really seeing is evidence of what is so easily done in social media, the misinformation, disinformation, where all kinds of people could. And I think that obviously, I think too, there's some residual bad blood still circulating in BLP circles or Mr. Thorne's tenure as leader of the opposition and political leader of the party. And those things are still working through the process of being worked out. I don't know what the outcome will be or when it will be, but it's clear uh, that something is going on still beneath the surface. And that's to be expected because people, especially with long held affiliations and beliefs to a party, do not leave it so easily and so completely. I said, that's right out, so wipe their hands out there. There's always some attempt to keep in contact or probably influence, etc., etc. And it's a competitive situation. Therefore, I'm sure there's some people who uh, have been overshadowed by Mr. Thorne's arrival, who still have their own political ambitions, their dreams, and they're probably still working to get things. I understand that there's several people trying to work at the canvas St. John for the DLP. So,
Well, I
but
mean,
that's
I'm
democracy.
sure in every party you're going to have right now. I'm sure that
That's it.
there are several, probably two or three candidates who want to run for St. Lucie. It's part of the game, isn't it?
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, and then
That's the
you
way it
get the
should be.
best person. That's how you get
Yeah.
the best person,
But
right?
unfortunately, in the Barbadian brand of politics, and it happened within the BLP, I know it happened also within the DLP, that these personal contests between the candidates very often leave very bad feelings that last for years or forever because they get very intense and very personal and very mean, and all kinds of things are said and done, and that muddies the water, and therefore makes it even more difficult for reconciliations and healings and cooperation and collaboration in the future because it's highly intense, highly personal. Egos are involved, and not everybody's able to push their ego aside and move on with the major goal of doing it for the party, for the people.
Yes, yes. I'm glad Rose Corbin was there, I know Rose Corbin would tell it as it is. She said it was an excellent session. It was an educational meeting which dealt with national issues, right? And so that's great. But there's you know, a, a, I think one has to. I saw in the newspaper that Mr. Lashley said that he will be speaking at a later time, but I wonder sometimes. This is just me wondering if we don't have that. If we don't have the same BLP, pulling the strings in the back. Why I say that is that I remember that one of the things that was said coming out of some other research that I did was that the BLP said that the only seat the DLP will ever win is St. Philip North. Think about it. The only seat, and Mr. I'm telling you, if I'm gonna say something on here, I'm telling you that it's something that would have at least that I believe I'm speaking the truth because I would have done my little research on that. Okay, so my understanding my understanding is that the BLP is saying the only seat that the DLP could ever win, right? It would have been St. Philip North. Is it? Is there no wonder why this is happening? Think about it. The Prime Minister put Michael Lashley on that crime committee. Okay. However, there was also, so he's on the committee, he's the first vice president. But there was also a request for the DLP to be on the committee. Is Michael Lashley not also part of the DLP? Why would he's the first vice president? One would think that that would suffice, that he is already, okay, he's already on this crime commission. Okay, that it's not called a crime commission, but that team that they've put together with with private business and lawyers and everybody on this team.
It's
One
called
would
the Citizen Advisory Council on crime. Citizen Advisory Council.
Advisory Council on Crime, and so he was asked to by the prime minister, and the prime minister singled him out and made mention that he was there. So he was there by the prime minister. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
one has to
do
ask.
you know this is before, during, or after an official approach that would have been made to the DLP to name its representative? Did it come after or before, or what? Any
It
idea?
was during, because you saw the when the public knew, when the public knew, that's when we saw everybody. So it wasn't the case that the DLP did not want to go on the, want to be part of this civil society something. I don't have the name.
I think it's Advisory Council.
Advisory Council. Let me write it
Yeah.
because I keep forgetting. Okay. They were asked my understanding, and I can be corrected if I'm speaking out of term, but my remembrance of it was a simultaneous thing that was done.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I'm saying, no, I'm not here trying to say the DLP losing sleep over Michael LASHLEY. Okay, I'm not saying that, and I'm not here to put down Michael LASHLEY. As I started out the whole thing, I said that I live in St. Philip, and I can attest that Michael LASHLEY is an excellent MP. The PM knows that. Okay, the BLP knows that. This is one good person that the DLP has. Is it possible that the BLP is creating, being part of what you see here? Is it that Michael LASHLEY has aspirations to use his talents other places, and is this an excuse? Is there an excuse being created to create a fuss? Because when you look at the documentation, when you look at the WhatsApp messages, when you look at how hard this chairman tries to get Michael LASHLEY involved, one has to ask the question, why? Why? I don't know. The only person who can answer will be Michael LASHLEY. Why is this happening? And if it is that you want to go somewhere else, that's fine. Mr. Thorne went somewhere else, but don't create. Is it that you're creating an issue when there's none?
But that apart, for those who are still, I am still disappointed that there's so much to and fro and confusion still surrounding the DLP and its future. But for those who might in the BLP who might be relishing and laughing, or even stoking it and encouraging it, at some point in the future, I can give you a rundown of what happened in 2010 after Mayor MOTTLEY was dethroned as opposition leader. How it did not all come out in public, but there were some interesting things and fascinating things that went on behind the scenes. So it is never easy. It's not that happened and they wash their hands and say, okay, sat back and wait until the term to come. No. It was turmoil and intrigue and all kind of sulking and all kind of going on the sidelines until Mr. Arthur reached out to her and asked her to come and present the estimates and a budget. So in other words, their hands are no cleaner than anybody else's hands as regarding the factionalism that follows after these things.
Also, Mr. I want to move on from this, but I want to say that what I want to say, because I don't because there are so many questions. I want the pictures back up though. If we can have those pictures, I want to celebrate this young lady that in the midst of all of this, and this is a kind of people that Mr. Thorne has around him. This young lady here, I love young people, and I love young people who are focused. And this young lady is one. I said today, she is made of steel, and she should be a keeper. This woman, she's the chairman of the branch. I don't think she's even 30 yet, but so strong, a strong individual. And to see that she was able to still pull this off with a change of venue. This is the kind of thing that this is leadership. Something happened and she's able to pivot. She's able to pivot. Some people would not have had the meeting. She was able. The youth is the future, Teroni. That's what I want to come out of this segment. The youth is the future. And no, she's not trying to run for that constituency. She's the chairman of the branch. She helped Michael Lashley when he was running. That's her job. So what she's doing basically is building up the branch for Mr. Lashley, but for when he's ready, or whoever the person is going to be. That's her job, and she's carrying out her job and doing such a fantastic thing of it. And I'm going to salute Janine Butcher tonight as one woman of steel, you see there. And so when they talk about the propaganda about young people not in the party, please, I want to show you, because the media, the mainstream media will not show you this. What they will harp on is what was on the paper yesterday. So I'm using this platform that she didn't ask me. I was trying to get her to come on. She's not even answering her phone. I chose to do this tonight because I want to celebrate this young woman made of steel, Barbadian.
Uh,
Yes.
I just before we end, I just like to say that I look forward to hearing Mr. Lashley speaking fulsomely as he normally does about his position as soon as possible to help clarify and stabilize the situation. I look forward to him representing his own case and his own self.
Correct. And that's what he said in the paper. Yes, yes, very
Right.
well said. That's what he said in the paper, that he's going to speak. So I felt like because all the media, social media platforms have carried it, and I left it alone. Different people all over WhatsApp. I did nothing about it. I saw it in the newspaper yesterday, and I said to myself, you know what, Marcy, look into this and say something about it. And that's what I did tonight. So and again, I started off by saying that Mr. Lashley, I know him to be a very good MP, and he has done very, very well in the constituency. It's not where I live, but I go there, and my children went to school in that particular area. So, well, I think tonight we are going to open up the lines for people to call in. Stephen Strickland said the youth are not the future; they are the present. You are right. You are right. Yes, 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 yes. The youth, and I love it. I love to see them at work. Right? Yeah, I love to see them at work. Yes, that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful for our youth. That is just wonderful. Let me also just use this opportunity to say, okay, Miss McLean just said Janine is a gem. I think so too. I am just flabbergasted at what was able to accomplish. The average person would not be doing that meeting. But that's wonderful. Yeah, I want to open up the lines. I don't know. We have to give us give us a couple minutes to get it established, right? But I think Dave, you have an independent song you wanted to play. I hope you don't I don't mess up my thing. Okay, good. Go ahead.
Beautiful, beautiful Barbados. Gem
Okay, something went wrong there because it's not playing by me. Are you hearing it, Mr. Murray?
Visual. I'm
Are
not
you
hearing
hearing
anymore.
it?
No, I'm not hearing. I'm just seeing the visual. It seems to
Yes.
have been frozen. Oh, it's coming back again.
Beautiful Barbados. Gemma.
Okay, so it's not playing. That would have been a good one. You like that song, Mr. Murray?
Oh, of course. When he lived in Canada and the Merry Men came out to perform in the winter, they used to bring tears to their eyes when they sang that song. To think about Barbie, every time, amazing. Right? They used to do it so well. Yeah, it was a great song, Barbie. There's another
Yes,
one called "Welcome the Morning Sun." Welcome the Morning Sun by
yes,
Alberta
yes,
Deco. That's another beautiful one also.
yes, 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 yes. But I saw this someone sent this to me. I don't know if you heard about the speech that the prime minister gave at um the funeral.
I heard about it. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I I heard a bit about it. Tell me.
Yes, so I'm gonna read something here because it sounded like another speech that was given before, is it before World Cup? And I remember Caswell was commenting on it because she somehow, it seemed to either be mixing up things or whatever. But it's quite interesting, if I can find it, to comment on. I'm trying here to try to find it. But I believe that you probably would know more about this than I would, because since seen you have seen so many governments. But I just want to read. Somebody wrote, yesterday I sat at Henry Ford's funeral and heard Mia Motley talk utter nonsense in a tribute that lasted 36 minutes. She
Wow.
congratulated Henry Ford for passing the Succession Act, which, according to her, gave all children equal status, whether born within or outside of wedlock. The Succession Act was not passed by Henry Ford.
Right, right.
The Succession Act was passed prior to 1976 by the government of the DLP under Errol Barrow. The Succession Act was concerned with matters of inheritance that stipulated as to how property was to be distributed on the death of the property owner. The Succession Act was not about the equal status of children. The act that Henry Ford passed that provided for the equal status of children was the Status of Children Reform Act of 1981. Mayor Motley continues to talk utter nonsense to people who do not know, and those who know, they remain silent. She said it with all puffed arrogance and embarrassing ignorance. She ended her speech by saying that Henry Ford taught her the simple lessons that the means should never justify the ends. It seems that the message that the ends should never justify the means is not a simple message after all. Maybe she believes what she said. It's interesting because I remember Caswell making a comment like this before, where she was saying that when the first World Cup, that she left home, she left school to to go to watch it, and then something came about, but it was on a Saturday. So it's a lot of these, and a lot of the older people, the older people just. I thought while you're sitting here, I would just read. It seemed that we don't have Mr. Todd. We're filling as we go. What's your comment on that?
My first comment is that she spoke almost as long in her tribute for Mr. Ford's for 36 minutes as she did for Mr. Arthur. She spoke for 41 minutes, when she really should have only spoken for between 10 and 15 minutes. And therefore, it into Mr. Arthur's cousin's time, Dr. Elliot Douglas, who grew up with him and knew it. So these, so I can remember it's almost as long as, and so, but I'm not surprised because my constant complaint is the Prime Minister does not spend time reading, researching, and writing her speeches. She wings it too much, and you can only get absorbed so much at one time, especially you're flying all over the place. You have
Mm-hmm.
to sit down. You have to sit like just like you, Bart. So when you have a project to do, you have to sit down and monitor and be stationary and monitor it and focus on it. You can't
Yes.
be taking phone call, going to the beach, going to church, and come back and hope to have the kind of quality presentation that you have at the end. And it's the same process. You have to put in the time, which the Prime Minister does not. She does not put in as much time as all other Prime Ministers have done in Barbados. And she's flown more in 6 years than all the others, I believe, put together. Right? That is a fact. And that disrupts your schedule. It disrupts it. You have to there's a lot of paper involved in government. You have to be able to read and find and do things. You can't just wing it and hear and you get a brief and hope you got it right and do. That's why I think that's all part of the confusion, the messiness, and the bad implementation because
Mm-hmm.
there's not enough step by step more. Yeah, it is not exciting stuff, but to get it right, you got to pay attention. You cannot be paying. Because if you are the final decision maker, for example, my favorite beef is the Prime Minister is not uh, an economist. She's not a trained economist. I don't even know if she's done Econ 101. Where the Prime Minister has to take advice from 4 or 5 different economists who can bring different opinions on this. Which one does she decide on? On what grounds does she believe one against the other? Because you don't have the technical skills on the ground. In the same way, the Attorney General has to be and should be a lawyer of some experience. I wrote the last 2 things the nation published to me in 2014. I wrote 2 articles in 2 successive sentences saying that the next Prime Minister of Barbados, next Minister of Finance should be a trained economist. And I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Right? You have to have like your job, Mark, your role. When somebody talks about filmmaking or directing or producing, as soon as that you because of your training, your experience, etc., you can begin to follow whether they're making sense or not. They're going
Yeah.
along because you're grounded in it. If you are not, you can't depend on your instincts or who you like or who you don't like, who you believe is. It's plus economics and finance are empirically driven data. Because facts, you have to be able to follow and make sense of it. So
Yes.
there's no escaping from the job. The job is a demanding job. It's a 24-hour job, 365 days. You have to be prepared to put in, put in the effort to get the desired results.
Yeah. I'm listening to you and I can understand that because I just traveled. When you get back, it's very difficult to get back in the flow of things and for there to be continuity. It sometimes it take you a couple of days to get over the jet lag and then to get back into the thing. And she, I mean, to I think that is one of her challenges, and so she's not prepared. It's impossible. She's not prepared for what she has to do. And the thing about this is that it's how I could just imagine her spewing this thing out and looking so confident doing it.
I, I,
She's so confident in how she's speaking, and everybody probably they're nodding, and she's probably not using any notes. She probably didn't. I didn't see her, but she probably didn't write the speech. And because of being unprepared, then she would make a blunder like this is a huge blunder, and would be talking for so long, 36 minutes, and not knowing what you're talking about, but you sound good. And basically that's what has happened to us. I'm going to say that is what has happened. This, the
but,
exact thing
well,
that happened at that funeral is what happened to Barbados, Mr. Murray.
let me tell you that uh, I think the Prime Minister is a talented person, but from my experience with her over the many years, we sat down around a cabinet table for 9 years where I was her equal as ministers. And she never demonstrated any superior intellect to anybody.
Mm.
She was good in present. She never came with any judgments, insights, thing that in my 9 years that I ever heard that wow you. Talk a lot, talk long, very often have to be interrupted. I remember sometimes Prime Minister asked, I said, Minister Bowley, give me a chance. Let me make my point. Let me finish. Let me talk. Okay, that's
So you're
so
saying that from in your days with her in cabinet that she would talk a lot.
of course.
Mm.
Even on a topic or something on a topic which was not her purview and not her ministerial responsibility. That is a natural persona as a alpha A woman type, dominant, involved all the time. If you study her personality, you that is to have they like to dominate, like to be upfront, leading all the time. That's why she would like to travel an entourage of 20, 30 people. It gives something to the ego. I'm in command, I'm in control all the time. But I remember as a prime minister or governor, you get all kind of invitations to the prime minister. And
Mm.
sometimes the prime minister after would often send other persons. I'll say no, let the embassy get a report from the discussion. There's going to be a report. Let's get the report and we get what we need and we can move on that report. It's in other words, you don't send everybody everywhere to everything. He himself often, I remember when it was High Commission in Canada, and the Barbadians in Ottawa was Toronto were complaining he was not coming up there. He said he would come up there if he's going to sign something that would benefit Barbados, advance Barbados' cause. He's not going to come just for 2 or 3 days to be on a frolic, and he's not going to do anything meaningful. So you'd always send other person or say, I have representatives to do what else is to be done. But there's a different persona. In the final analysis, all politics is local, and the adulation of a lot of adulation just for far more polite.
But Mr. Murray, let just break there a little bit because I know I'm here just trying to, I'm listening to you and I'm wondering if Barbadians are listening to Mr. Murray. We're going to do one of those things that we've been doing. Just take it in slowly. Mr. Murray is 18. I say, he's 81. I call him 18 years old, okay? Sharp as a tack. And Mr. Murray has sat in cabinet meetings with Prime Minister Mia Mottley, and he is explaining to us because I'm now getting a better understanding. Because you're seeing the product. You're seeing we are now she's Prime Minister, and we're seeing her colors. Then we're seeing what she's made of. But now you're getting a better understanding that he's telling us that sometime Prime Minister Arthur would have to tell her, okay, all right, give somebody else a chance to speak now. Do you understand? It's good to understand it, because when you understand, you'll be able to understand the person. So what I got from that, it's like, when you're in a class and you have somebody that just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and then they don't produce as much. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Murray?
But I'm saying also, if you were to talk to a person, even know that she's prime minister, who have attended meetings with her, the dominance usually obtains because that's the doctrine. You're telling people more that as if to say, I know more about what you are doing and supposed to say and do and believe that you do. So you're always dominating and guiding and overshadowing, etc. I'm sure it happens with the white top ministers also. So, but the point is, you have to put in the donkey work, right? You have to. Uh, I remember, especially the more important the occasion was the greater time, the more time Prime Minister Adam and Arthur were put into preparing their speech for the occasion. They were writing most of it. They would get reports, etc., in preparation, but they would basically write it in longhand. It is their words. It is their thoughts. They didn't bring it and say all kind of things that could come back to haunt you. Like the cat.
The cat.
It matches the red. It matches the red. Yeah. But
Lord help me tonight. Oh Lord, help me tonight. Listen,
So, so
no, I tell you something. People will say, when you see, oh Lord, I don't even know where to begin. But just listening to you makes me realize that okay, so there's some issue where she feels she must
let,
be in charge all the time.
of course, of course, of
Okay.
course, right.
Yeah, so
But
she must be in charge. She must be in charge all the time, and that is what is happening. I think, Mr. Murray, you have a lot. You're filling in a lot of gaps for us, and so
and
you
there,
can tell.
and there are many more which I can fill, and I will fill at the opportune. Timing is always important. Believe
Well,
me, I have seen the Prime Minister at her best in cabinet or in other meetings, and I've also seen her at her worst. And if you doubt me, you can ask Elizabeth Thompson about it. I will say no more at this stage on that matter.
yeah, yeah. But the thing about this is it's important for us Barbadians to be able to understand who it is that we need to understand the leader, because I think if we know, you're explaining to me how she was in cabinet with you. Now I understand. I can understand why under her government that they would come up with the cybercrime bill. It makes sense to me. Because sometimes you wonder, like, what are they thinking? What's going on? But the whole thing, I'm thinking of the kind of personality. And oftentimes we choose people because they have a big personality. They fill up a room, right? Oftentimes we do that. Oftentimes, because there's a charisma, the way they speak, as I just read to you that she was speaking at the funeral, and what she was saying, parts of what she was saying was just not facts. Not facts. It's not history. She was making up her own history. But people there said nothing. Or, well, of course, you can't say anything at a funeral, but I'm saying that how we normally would deal with that, we sit and we shake our
Let,
head and we let her go
let,
along because she convinces us that it's truth.
let me make another point. I've had various interactions, longer, more intimate with all the leaders in Barbados of one time or another. Granny Adams, Cummings, Dr. Cummings, Mr. Barrow, etc. Barbados has had a history of outstanding leaders who were well educated, right? Most of them won Barbados scholarships, top of the line intellects. All right, they could speak well, present well, and that was the kind of tradition we've had, an expectation of leaders. I think Miss Motley has benefited from that expectation and that thing because she presents well, she talks as though knows what she's talking about, it flows, etc. You're impressed. But as a journalist who would have to listen to a boy talk for hours or a 25, 6 page, and you have all go in the House of Assembly, 2 hours, and you have to distill it, analyze it, critique it to get stories or the news out of it. There's there's seldom ever very much news being news, something that is fresh and new and different coming out of Miss Motley's presentations. There's a lot of repetition. Very often you said, as that famous ad used to say with McDonald, where's the beef? Where's the meat? Where's the story? What kind of story you should have? The most important, probably thing the person said, especially is you, to make the lead and the story. So I think you struggle to become a good journalist, and a lot of the exports give only because she's prime minister. Not only that, one of the first things the prime minister did was to appoint was to change the official qualifications for a post called Director of Communications, which was a professional, where you had to have a degree, etc., and call it Director of Communications and Social Media, and appoint her own PR man, Dr. Charlie Jung, who is an excellent video man, editing and put together, excellent. He's worked all through the Caribbean with their leaders and whatnot.
Hmm.
So when he travels with her, So this is in-house material all the time coming out because for a person who's paid, it's like a celebrity prime minister thing where you have your own retinue of staff and they send out WhatsApp and social media but to keep your image, your reputation buzzing and buzzing all the time. That is what you're saying.
So you're saying she's behaving is like a celebrity PM.
Oh yeah, celebrity. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I mean maybe that is the modern trend for some people, but certainly when they compare the other leaders, they wouldn't want everything they do or say everything to be in the pictures or mentioned. They want meat, they want substance, they want beef. Because that's a very wise caution because it's something a human behavior, a human perception of overexposure.
Hmm.
Where after a person things, as the baby said, they get tired seeing you. Give a
Hmm.
break, man. And there's and so and then there's a reluctance to be able to engage you because uh, paradise is ready here. So that is a natural product if you are constantly being exposed and in people's faces and the living room, etc. Right?
Hmm.
All good politicians are very selective of what they want exposed all the time, publicly and at their public. Not
Correct.
everything, not everything deserves a mention or picture or whatever, because it's overexposure that happens and people get tired. Or tired is like drinking the same eat the same meal every day. After
Hmm.
well, no matter how delicious it was at first, you want a break. Want to try something different. Want to hear something different. That is human behavior.
Yes.
So
Yes. That is so true. And there's a comment here that I was thinking about this today. That she is such. I know people say to me, "Oh, she's not a great speaker." I think she's a great speaker. I think she's very good, because somebody's saying here that sometimes she goes into the beige and parlance when there's certain times that she will do it. She chooses when that is going to happen. And so this is why I want us tonight to be very conscious of what we're discussing tonight. And this is not, we're not saying that she's worse than anybody else. We're saying that you've got to listen carefully when she's speaking. When she's speaking, because she's confident, doesn't mean that what she's saying is correct. And you've got to sit down, you've got to double check and triple check. And Barbadians need to reach that point where we don't take everything that is coming out of our mouth as the truth. Go and check. She's a politician, and all over the years we have seen where we were promised things, and she comes up and she says things off the cup. Says things, not research. Look at the whole thing with the tint. She just came off a plane, and they had she called and she just decided to just say it because if it was something thought out, how could the attorney general then have to come to clean up? She's not thinking through, but we want Barbadians to begin now. As you go into this next phase, to stop and to think about what she's saying. Don't swallow everything. Go ahead, Mr.
Marcia, you have to be. Of course, she's an most of an excellent presenter in form. You have to separate form from substance, from content. You understand? So they're not the same. Beautiful sound good, but if you critically analyze it, and most Barbie, I don't think there's a household in there's not a family in Barbie in which somebody didn't go to university or community college, church. They can think, they can critically analyze, and they're exposed to information. So therefore, we are the same way we have to critically analyze not only anybody who talks to us to see if there's what is in it and does it make sense or how does it add up or whatnot. So being a good speaker, good as regards form and tone and that stuff, and aggression and charisma is one thing. But then when you boil it down, when you distill it, you have to be able to find the ingredients, the meat, the substance. That is what really the society is dependent on for its advancement and its progress. Okay? So I just like to issue those words of caution to people at the evaluate anybody, even me. Then do the same. You have to listen to everybody and critically analyze it. I spent so many years in journalism, and is that I normally, as a matter of course, I edit as I listen to people. I edit for content, for style, for grammar, for errors, contradiction, all that kind of stuff. And that is what we need to do. And do not believe. And I think what happens to the people who are there to adore the prime minister, they believe their own propaganda. They are paid. I think the most degrading term I've seen come into usage in years is an influencer. To be an influencer, it means that you are hired hand, paid to be somebody's propaganda machine for a particular end. You're not being paid to give your analysis and train your expertise to present your conclusions on something. Your job is to make this boy look good and other people sound bad. And you are an influencer, and the taxpayers' money in Barbados. That's a propagandist. We used to do those things when it was with the BLP. That was in those days. People will write letters sometimes under anonymous name or sign a letter to get the point of view across if you don't use their own name. No, people get paid, and they used to be done free. Some of it used to happen on the calling programs, but no, it is an industry. It is an industry. People get paid well. We go to work every day to promote the prime minister's image. That's why if you're online or thing, you will get all kind of comments because people, that is their job to listen to for things and intervene, to contradict, to attack, whatever, to shut down. So that is part of. So that is the part of the so-called democracy of Barbados today, and that is only. And you see, as government, you have dominance, you have access to facilities and resources. We call it the advantage of the advantage of incumbency. So you are able to use public resources to do things which nobody else can do because they don't have access to similar or equal and competing resources. So that is the advantage of being a government.
Yeah. I think one of the things I watch the news media in the U.S. and different places and so on, and they sit down and they can critically analyze their leaders. The election is going on or whatever they sit down and they do that. I don't know what has happened. What I mean, they were doing it for Frondell Stewart. They did it for Frondell Stewart, but you look at what's happening in the media, even in social media. Look at what's going on. People, they want us to believe that this prime minister here is the best prime minister that we've ever had. Everywhere you go around the world, they say, "Oh, we love your prime minister. Oh, she's doing." And why are they saying that? Why are they saying that? They're saying that because of what she's saying. So they say, we like when she talks about climate change, and we like, but then we live here and we're trying to explain to them, well, we don't see her. She's not doing much for us here. So I think it's so important for people that are in the media to sit down and really look at Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Look at what she's promised that she will do. Look at what she's accomplishing. Look at the other prime ministers. Don't believe because the influencers, as Mr. Murray is saying, they're telling us that she's great, and she's telling us she's great. She's all over making sure as she's a celebrity prime minister all over. Then we begin to believe that she's great because we don't want to examine. Because we just swallow everything. You were saying something, Mr. Murray?
Yeah. I was thinking about it a few days ago. Next time I'm on, I'm going to do a critique of the media in Barbados.
A critique of the what? A critique of what?
The media in Barbados. And from my experience and knowledge, observations, what would have contributed greater what it is today. You have to understand it. I do it the next time I'm on, probably next Sunday if you're on. And then you begin to understand why the media is where it is. Is the way it is in Barbados today. There are a lot of factors that came into play long before 2018. Understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I will give you some insights into some things that you would then begin to appreciate why it is. It is, but the media Barbados is almost, the spirit is dead and broken and things. So, and when you were talking about those overseas journalists, they have people who do research for them and fact check. There are people they fact check, or people doing be fact checking them and sending information on their phones or their tablets at the time so they can intervene. They don't carry all that information they have. They're being briefed as they go along. They have the resources to do it. They have research staff whose job it is to fact check and double check to make sure you are right. You have the first right to analyze and critique everything that comes along. We are far from that. We'll never be able to afford about it. Still, there's still basic practices and standards you should the media should still seek to obtain.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I see Dave has a video there. Go ahead, Dave.
Little pigs, let me in.
I want money. I want money. You understand?
Not by the hair on our chinny chins. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in.
The Prime Minister has threatened Barbadians. Everybody has come away discussing things. And they're discussing things not because it is trivial, but because the Prime Minister has threatened Barbadians. I want to assure Barbadians that the Prime Minister has absolutely no authority to collect fines.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in.
All that is left for me to do is to give the public the assurance that the Prime Minister, again, as she has done in the past, exceeded her legal and constitutional boundaries.
Thank you, Dave. That was a classic case of her just opening her mouth about the stint, and here comes Mr. Thorne with the law.
But
Here
because
comes Mr. Thorne with the law.
that issue with the 10 I'm told did not go to cabinet. Right? There's a process, and I have some information. I do a program for you to give it. It's how cabinets are supposed to work, how documents are supposed to compile, what is called a cabinet here, the process, the steps it goes. So it precludes and minimizes that kind of fold up. If that had been a cabinet proposal going through the rigors of presentation and comments and analysis from various departments before it went to cabinet and okayed and saw the light of day for announcement, it would not have happened. Because the checks and balances, the stages would have been gone through, and there would have been any flaws. It would not reach that point because all the dots and T's should have been dotted. But unless people in the preparation of the paper or the departments who are contributing to the paper and making inputs in the paper, right? Because normally something that if that paper would have been proposed by, say, MTW, but once it would involve the police, it should go to the Attorney General office for comments coming from the police department or from the Ministry of Finance. So they who would give their input because it would impact on their operations, and they would be able to say yeah or nay, make sense, no, don't do it. But if it doesn't go through that process, and my information tells me that you're having presenting a cabinet paper with a very demanding if you do it right. And there used to be a tradition and a practice. I understand there are a lot of young people now who have been escalated in the public service to the highest right, but have not had that exposure of dealing with the preparation. If a paper, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Secretary determine what papers go to cabinet. And if something comes as a proposal and they themselves not going to consider it is deficient, they send it back. for resubmission, right? But if that process is not being followed rigorously, you get you get all these sets of confusion that have been having over the years because the I guess I think part of the problem told us that some of the new ways kids from the government and the consultants say that these checks and balances are colonial relics and the bureaucracy holding them back, stopping things. So you throw that aside, you rush into do it in the non non what do you call them, colonial way, in the new
Right.
way, and you make mistakes
Correct.
because
Yeah.
I mean there are a lot of criticism made of bureaucracy, but any organization has a form of bureaucracy, a hierarchy, and a system that you're supposed to follow to do your work. But
Mm-hmm.
those what people often call hindrances and delays are checks and balances meant to protect the whole process. Because the bureaucracy is supposed to have, once the processes are followed, once the standards are met, the criteria are met, it's supposed to come up with a predictable result.
Yes.
Right? Right? If you know that if you want when you want to have a marriage, you know there's a procedure you have to go through with the police secretary, and once you that you will get a predictable result. But if you had police sergeants at various stations making it and deciding on your be chaos. All kind of standards would apply, all kind of confusion, and you would know what is you never know what is right or wrong. So there's a need for organization or structure for say whether you want to call it bureaucracy or what, to protect a system and its outcome from itself and the country from itself.
Mm.
Basic.
Yeah, yeah, because that's why it's in place. That's why
That's
it's
why
in
it's okay.
place. And I realize with her manner, I'm learning. Listen to you and Caswell. I'm learning. I realize her manner is she doesn't follow the necessarily protocols and the what we
I,
call bureaucracy that's there to protect us. Some of it, to protect the democracy and that's why I'm saying when you're going to understand the cybercrime bill and why we have it, when you begin to understand who our leader is and what we're doing tonight. Listen, I've never met Prime Minister Mia Mottley. I don't have a personal vendetta against her at all. I am just judging from what I've seen, the fruit. She is a public figure. She is a leader. She came out and put herself out there and said, listen, vote for me, and I'm going to do these things. And I've seen what has happened to Barbados over the last 6 years. And I can see the trajectory of where it seems like we're headed. And but then you're trying to tell me what you everybody wants the influencers that I'm seeing here being paid from up to $6,000 a month that they're being paid. These influencers that you're talking about, they're trying to convince me on Facebook, and they put out all these YouTube, and they pay these YouTube, a lot of these things, these African YouTubers that are writing about the prime minister, they're paid. Understand that they are paid to carry the story. You understand? They're paid to do it. These are paid people to put out. It's like if I'm traveling wherever, I went to Poland, and then I send out the stuff and send it to someone to put it on their site and to promote the prime minister. Why would you need to do that? You should first of all be home working. You're not a celebrity. You're making your It's almost like she's putting herself up there like Rihanna. Stay home and do the job, because the people in the country, they're hungry. People are without drinking brown water. So come home and do the job. And that's what's not happening. And that's my issue, really. I don't have anything. This is a little boy that was giving out water on the day with his granddad in St. Lucie. This is Paul Messiah's grandson. But come home and look after the people in Barbados. That's all I'm saying. I don't have anything personal against the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Mia Mottley has not done me anything personal. I know that's what they're trying to say, that she must have done something to me. No, she hasn't. I am looking at her performance. I'm looking at her. I see her colors. I see what she's doing. I see the fruit. I see the product, and I don't like it. That's it. I see the product and I don't like it. Go ahead, Mr. Murray.
One of the things that has struck me most forcibly about the Prime Minister's tenure in office is the facility and the speed at which you can create posts and jobs and titles. Because on each of those jobs or title costs money. When I was Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office in the Ministry of Civil Service, and I had responsibility for the civil service, we institute assistant, the Prime Minister institute assistant, any job that wants to be created had to go through a process. It had to go to the Ministry of the Civil Service to see whether the job, for where you need the job and whether its proposal can be justified, what it will do, etc. It had to go to the Ministry of Finance to find out how much it would cost and where would the money come from to pay for it. Right? So that again checks and balances. But no, so nobody was able to just create a job out hand and say, okay, hire him tomorrow the consultant. That would have had to go through a process to justify. There's a paper trail you can follow. So there's much more control and discipline on this whole matter.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening now.
Right. You see, all of those, and you find that a lot of persons, Barbadians of over a certain age, they're not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore because they know, well, or it wear off. They know that something is wrong. People of Mr. Murray's age and even younger, a lot of them, they're the ones who know that something is wrong. They know they're not into the bread and circuses. They're not being caught up by her confidence when she speaks. They know something is wrong. And that's why I said that age group, the seniors, she's going to have a rude awakening with the seniors in Barbados. In Kenya, it was the Gen Zs. In Barbados, it's the seniors. These are the people they know that something is wrong, and they know that this is not the Barbados that they're accustomed to, and so yeah, they are responding. Yeah, they are responding. Yeah. Yeah. But if we're only 3 minutes 3 minutes away, and I want to say to those of you who have joined, and I want to thank you all so much for being with us tonight. I thought we had a great show. We want to keep praying for Mr. Thorne. I want to, again, when I do these things and nobody asked me. In fact, actually, it was one of somebody who's watching the show said that to me, and I felt it in my heart before. I think we need to be praying for Mr. Thorne a bit more. And Mr. Murray, people say to me, Marcia, you're too supportive of Mr. Thorne. And I say to them, the reason I support Mr. Thorne is Mr. Thorne stands, Mr. Murray, as a barrier. Like I see him like this. I have my hand out like this, and he stands between the government and the people. The perfect example is that tint. Him coming out, laying down the law, they had to walk it back.
I understand your position, and I agree. I have a similar disposition and attitude towards the Thorne as an individual, but the role he's playing, it reminds me of the role that Bishop Joseph Attie also took on.
Correct.
Same role, because they saw the dangers. Believe me, very real dangers, because Bishop Joseph Attie would have also worked with Prime Minister MOTTLEY too,
Yes, sir.
Would have had the engagements. And I don't dwell about it. She and I have had our differences at various levels, different times, so I know what I expect, right? But I tell you, all I tell you is what I know, I saw, I heard, I read, I can remember. There's no need to lie, because the material is there. It is being unfurled before your eyes almost on a daily basis. The poor governance of Barbados is something which has never before we've even come close to this in the history of Barbados, not even as a colony. So
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's a fact.
you know what I'll say, and then Dave, I know he has some music to play. Is that when Mr. Joseph Atherley crossed the floor, I I listened to people who said, "Oh, he's a mere operative. She told him to cross." And all of that, Mr. Murray. And I didn't support him in the beginning. And I vowed when Mr. Thorne crossed, I said, I'm not going to do that. I said I could never sit on this show and talking about opposition. And here is someone saying, "Listen, I'll do it," and then I'm going to not support it. I think to me that's hypocrisy, and it says that I don't mean Barbados well. I could never be taken seriously. For me, I'm serious about what I'm doing. And so I would support Mr. Thorne and I would pray for him. And I always say it, the moments that it's not, I don't believe he's doing that, standing between the government and the people, I'm going to say it. There have been things that I've had to ask questions on, because I want to understand what is going on. So I think that for me, as you said, Mr. Murray, the position, that position is important for Barbadians. You can't be asking for opposition. It's like you come on the show, we're providing that for you, and then at the same time you are going to destroy it. No, we are going to try to build up and be constructive, right? And build up. It's because this is our country, and we will have to build it up. Mr. Murray, final word before Dave goes, telling the people good night. I give you the final word, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Circumstances have had allowed me to be more expansive on areas which I had been considering for a while. I hope they were useful and informative. There's a lot more to come on that can come. But I just want to say where Bishop Atherley is concerned, Bishop Atherley, from all my years, turned out to be the most decent person in politics I've ever met, down to the core. Tested many times. Other people have been good, but because he lives his Christianity day by day, and it was a great disservice done to him when people were made to attack him and say, "Oh, he wanted more money and he couldn't get a ministry." Bishop Atherley does not take a salary from his church. Does not. He makes his money elsewhere because he's trained out the master's level. He does not take. And he's supposed to have some regional leadership. Does not take a say. So it was never about making money. It was all about rising, putting his hand in and standing up at the time when he knew, because of his experience with the personalities involved, that Barbados needed that stand.
Yes.
Someone to stand between them and the people. And history has proven him right. History has proven him very right. And I mean, it's still a work in process with Mr. Thorne, but so far he has justified his existence. He's justified the stand he's taken, given what he's been able to open the eyes of the public to in Barbados and prevent us from falling blindly into some chasms that would have existed if he had not alerted us. And I think he has a role to continue, and I look forward to his continued contribution, him and any other who comes on the scene, to join him or whatever, to speak for the betterment of Barbados. So good night to everyone.
Well said. Thank you. Good night to everybody. Good night. And
Thank you.
I think Dave is going to play an independent song. Go right ahead, Dave.
Beautiful Barbados.
Yeah, it's stuck at the same place.
God.
Good night, everybody. We
That
tried.
must
We
that, that
tried.
must be
It's stucking at this place.
that might be a Philip video. Like it's stopping at St. Philip.
All right. Good night, Barbados. It's
Good night.
beautiful, beautiful Barbados. Okay.
Oh, good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
See
night.
you
All
tomorrow
right.
night. God bless.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.